Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I am Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is not executed by the head of state, Dan Ryan.
Certainly not. Yet, anyway. I mean, there's time. I might do some shit.
It's not E3 time, and Dan and I have decided to throw the schedule to the wind and focus on the frankly insane amount of game showcases that happened last week. How much does the general gaming audience not care about VR? Don't forget your timestamps because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Well, hello everyone. This is episode 518. It is the week of June 14th, 2024, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from a retro gamer's perspective, as well as whatever the heck else is going on in our lives. And speaking of which, hey, where's Dean?
I don't know. It wasn't my turn to watch him.
If you follow this show, you were probably expecting us to have the SAG Cartoon Express this week, and Dean would be here, and we'd talk about Super Mario Bros. 3. But Dean is currently inundated with dogs, which is apparently a theme for this show.
But not my fault.
It's not Dan's fault. They're not Dan's dogs. They're his own dogs. But
no.
Dean had to cancel, which was actually fine because I was going through all of the showcases this week, and there's a lot to discuss. So we're just going to go ahead and do that, and probably wind up doing that again next week, because there's also a lot more showcases happening between this episode and the next episode, and I got my fingers crossed the Nintendo Direct lands sometime next week as well, because that way we can just bang them all out 2 weeks in a row, and that would be great. But I don't know.
That would be lovely.
It would be lovely. I mean, they said it was going to happen sometime in June. Here we are in June. Seems like a good week to do it. But knowing Nintendo, they'll probably wait another week just to piss everyone off. But
they'll do it on the very last day of June, just because.
June 20,000th.
Yes.
How you doing? How you doing, Dan? How are you doing? What is new and exciting in the world of Dan?
Well, yeah. So I suppose updates are that's just what I'm going to do, I think, going forward. For the people that care, you're one of them. And for our listeners that care, as we go along on this fucking wild ass journey that we're going on. So last week, in case you missed it, discovered some lymph nodes in my neck that were quite swollen, and that's not great. So this Monday, this past Monday, I went and had an ultrasound done on the lymph nodes, and it came back not clear. So inconclusive, which means not good, because they came back big. So apparently, a lymph node that is bigger than 1 centimeter is considered malignant. I believe that's accurate. The ones in my neck, the biggest one is a little over 3 centimeters. So that's not good. Malignant doesn't necessarily mean cancerous, but it does. It doesn't mean good. So we had the CT scan on we had the ultrasound on Monday. My doctor ordered a CT scan. So that's where you go and they take all the ultrasound does is really just look, and you can see this is big, this sucks. The CT scan is much more in depth. As I am going on this journey of discovery, you start finding out things like, all right, so if the lymph nodes in your neck swell because it's from cancer that is spread from somewhere else in the body. Typically where it would spread from is mouth, throat, or thyroid. And it was the 3 of those are not great. Thyroid is a little bit better. Mouth and throat cancer That's not a thing I'm super interested in, if we're being perfectly honest, considering what I do for a living and then, this show and whatever, but was not outside of the realm of possibility because I was a pack-a-day smoker for quite a number of years. I haven't done it in, I haven't smoked a cigarette, in 15 years, 14 years, something like that. It's been a very, very long time, but I still vape and all of that stuff. So, there was concern there. And then, it's just, I don't have any symptoms. So it didn't make any sense that it would be any of those things, but, the fear, right, is still there. And the whole time we're going through this, my children had their 8th grade class trip, yesterday. So Thursday, because we're recording this on the Friday, and I didn't want to say anything to them and have them be worried, during their class trip. Also because we had the CT scan scheduled for today. So went and had the CT scan with contrast where they inject you with barium so that they can see the shit better. And turns out that good news, I don't have brain, throat, lung, mouth, or thyroid cancer.
Oh, thank
all
goodness
of those
you said
ruled
cancer,
out.
because all those things you need.
No, I do. I have those things.
I don't have
but
brain.
They were listed.
I don't have lung.
I don't have lung.
Fingers.
They were listed on the report as unremarkable, and I was like, I know, but hey, that feels rude. They're very nice brain. People are telling me I have the best brain.
I've seen it.
So
I've cut your head open plenty of times while you're sleeping.
So that is
I'm sorry, what? What are we talking about?
No, that's fair. So that is like a huge relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely none of those things. But I do have the lymph nodes are there in the neck that they were able to see. Apparently one by my collarbone and my armpit as well. Now, that again sounds scarier than it is, because that's typically how lymphoma is found. It is in one particular set of lymph nodes, like under your arm or somewhere where you wouldn't necessarily look or see it or feel it. Like I have been checking my armpits since we got this report today. I can't feel fucking anything. I can't feel the one by my collarbone. I would have never have noticed if it was not for the ones in my neck. And that's usually how lymphoma goes, is that there's the inflamed node somewhere, and when it gets to a point on your body, somewhere on your body where it becomes noticeable, that is when people start to panic and go to the doctor and then have the treatment. So I will be giving the results to my doctor on Monday, because by the time the results were read today, and it was just the end of the day. It's Friday. Everybody has to go home. Fuck me. Everybody's got a weekend to get to. So my doctor will get the report on Monday, and then we will be scheduling a biopsy after that. And what that will entail, I'm not entirely sure yet, but it'll probably be the removal of a whole bunch of them. And then we'll kind of see where we go from there. But all signs at this point are pointing to some form of lymphoma. So some form of cancer. Which is fucking weird to say out loud. It's really weird to say that out loud, but also to be somewhat relieved by that finding, because lymphoma, we told the girls today, and we were like, all right, we're having the birthday party tomorrow. Do we tell the kids, what's, and I was very, I've been in turmoil over these last couple of weeks, because I did not like that. I did not know that my dad was sick, right? My dad was in and out of mental hospitals. And not just for like a vacation, but like legit, he had to be admitted to a psych ward a couple times. And nobody ever fucking told me that, you know? And then a couple months afterwards, he ends up, you know, taking his own life. And it's like all of this comes as a big shock, you know? And I was 13 at the time. My kids are a little bit older, and I didn't like lying to them. Like I said something on the podcast last week, and I hadn't even told the kids yet.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
But they're kids.
They're kids, and you don't know. Like,
and I don't know. Yeah.
Right now, it's all signs point to lymphoma, right? But
yes.
You're not a doctor.
99.9%. No.
Right. Like, you don't know that. It could be anything. It could literally be any number of things. And there's no sense in telling them until you know something. Because right now you're in the I have a bad feeling about this phase. Like, right? You've gotten more information, and that's good. But until you have, like, what's the sense in worrying them? And then you get information back, and they're like, actually, it was a Cheeto on the X-ray scan thing. Sorry, you just have bad allergies. Have a good day. Like, until you know what you're worrying them about, like, I understand.
Well, yeah,
this,
and
like,
and that's kind of where we were at with it. Of like, I don't want to say something to them because up until getting the CT scan results back today, there was still the possibility that it could be a number of different things.
Right.
This has really kind of narrowed the focus and will be the path that we are most likely headed down. And I was saying to Evan before we started recording, before you got on, Chris, like it's almost reassuring in a weird way to be going down a lymphoma path, because that is something that is, I mean, if you have to get cancer, Chris, that's one of the ones. It's not 100%, but it's not nearly as scary as a lot of the other ones. We know how to handle that. It's going to suck. I'm going to get sick from the treatment. I'm going to. But then I'm going to get better. And that's going to be the end of it. And that's kind of how we framed it to the girls, too, because we were like, you know, we sat the girls down. It was just really kind of funny and odd. Like, all right, we're about to have a big conversation. You know that I've been going to the doctor recently and I've been taking time off of work. And both of them were like, do you have cancer? And I was like, well, probably. And they were like, what kind? Like, we think it's going to end up being lymphoma. And they were like, oh, okay. Because they've grown up in a world where that's just a thing that happens to people, and then you go away for a couple weeks and you get treatment, and then you come back and you're just good. Like, that's the world that they've grown up in, where it's, for us, like for me, I'll speak for me, still just hearing the word is fucking scary, you know, because when I was a kid and somebody said the word cancer, that was it.
A death sentence.
That was it.
There was not a lot of the survivability.
There just wasn't.
Yeah, there just wasn't much of it. My sister had leukemia and she survived it. But
she's good.
She's I mean, she's from the cancer. It's everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's good.
Yeah, but
you know, like
I think she's the only person I know, at least that I can think of off the top of my head, that has been the case. Because as we were growing up, you know, medical science has advanced. It's one of those things that you don't really think of that much, but you know, when you think about growing up and what an immediate death sentence cancer used to be, you know, and obviously it is still a very serious thing, depending on what flavor of it is, you know.
Sure.
But lymphoma is one of those ones that's like, okay, well, that's awful, but you know, it could be worse.
It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. It's just coming and going. You know, I don't. I think the thing that I'm most scared about right now, like in this moment, is losing my beard. Which is a weird thing to be fucking scared about, but like that's the thing, because to me, that will mean that I look sick. You know what I mean? Like that will be the thing where I'm like, all right, I look sick, and that's not cool. Like, I'm not super into that idea. The fight part, I think I said it last week. Like, that I'm not worried about, where it's like you got to have a positive attitude about it and do all that. Like, I'm 100% on board with that. Like, if I get lymphoma, if I have lymphoma, and that means that somewhere cosmically some fucking little kid doesn't have it, cool, I'll take it, because I'll be done with it. I'm not worried about that part. You know what I mean? Very much in the there's a baseball player, Liam Hendricks, put it similarly to that. He, like 2 seasons ago, he said at the beginning of the baseball season, so like April, he felt like a weird lump on his neck, and he was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go pitch. And he played the entire season with these fucking bumps on his neck, and then after the season, he was like, all right, maybe I should get him looked at. And he had like stage 4 lymphoma. Like, it had spread to a bunch of other places. And his doctor was like, yeah, don't worry about it. You'll be all right. You'll be back on the mound in September. And his attitude the whole time was, instead of saying like, why me? Why not me? I can handle this, so I'll handle it. You know, and I'm trying to take a similar attitude to it. Again, not 100% knowing, as I sit here right now, that that's what it is. But almost, like I was saying earlier, just being relieved that that is the path we're going down, because these sort of symptoms from not that was a very different ball of wax. So I don't know. I could be talking a big game this week, and next week we have very, very different conversation. I don't fucking know, man. It's weird. It's a very weird place to be. You know? Yeah. It's very strange.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
That's.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, because what do you say to that? You know,
you're just sitting on the sidelines, like, well, something's wrong, and I don't know exactly what it is. There are no good possibilities, but there are non-terrible possibilities. So let's talk about video games, right? Like, it's and that strange place to be in.
That's the thing I was saying to Tiff earlier. Of like, it's likely, if not entirely for certain, that this has been going on for months at this point. It definitely, I can say almost 100% certainty, was not going on this time last year when I had my gallbladder out, because they looked at all that shit and it all seemed to be fine. You know, so I can say that it's been less than a year that this has been happening. How long it's been, I don't entirely know. Would it be crazy to think that it started 6 months ago? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that it is very likely that this has been going on for months at this point. And if I wasn't acting any differently months ago, because I don't have any symptoms, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not worried about it being renal cancer or pancreatic or stomach or something like that, because I just don't have any symptoms. And if it were at a stage where a cancer in a different part of my body had moved into my lymph nodes in multiple places, I would have symptoms. You know, like, that's just not how that works. You don't find out you have stomach cancer because your lymph nodes in your neck are swollen. You find out you have stomach cancer because you're vomiting blood. Not to be like too direct about it, and apologies if that upsets anyone who knows somebody who's gone through that, but that is that's kind of like where I'm at. You know, I don't have any of those symptoms, so I'm not necessarily worried about that part. So all of that, though, is to say, if I wasn't acting differently months ago, why should I be acting any differently today? True. You know, this is just a thing that I have to go through, and I will, and it'll be fine. It's just a thing I got to do, and it's going to fucking suck. And if I got to go through like chemo or whatever and my fucking hair falls out, like there's not a lot on the top to fall out anymore. I don't necessarily want to lose my eyebrows. That feels fucking weird. You know, like the eyelashes and like all of that stuff. Like the hair loss thing is...
You can draw in eyebrows.
I might. Tiff and the girls that she work with have offered to make me facial merkins so that I can still walk around with a beard. You know, it's just it's a fucking weird place to be, Chris.
When was the last time you didn't have a beard?
Last time I didn't have a beard was 2007. I worked at Disney for 2 days and had to shave my beard. Yeah.
That doesn't sound worth it.
It was cool. It was cool. I got to like go down in the tunnels and like see all the backstage shit. Like it was really neat. And it was over the summer. Like it was hot. I was in Florida. I was like, whatever, it's fine. They need help at Disney for a couple days. Tiff was working at this office and they were doing like staffing and whatever. And they were completely out of people. Like the people that they had hired for this job called out, and everybody loves me. So they were like, you just got to shave. And I was, all right, fine, fuck it, whatever. You know, it'll be for a couple. And my beard was back in like a week. You know, so it was fine. But yeah, I've not had I've had facial hair since 2007. So that's weird. My children have never seen me without facial hair. It's just weird. It's weird. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't think I'm going to take any pictures over the summer.
Well, you know, I'll miss the photography. I mean,
for all the pictures that I take now and post, you know, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be upbeat and positive about it. You know, the one thing that, and we can move on after this because I don't want to bog the entire show down with my presumptive diagnosis. The one thing, like, Tiff was like, well, we're going to do like fundraisers and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, that's totally fine, you know, because we will probably need a little bit of help at some point going through. Like, there's going to be expenses, you know, and all that's fine. But I was like, you know, the one thing that I want to take out of this is what I will leave our listening audience with now. And that is, go to your fucking doctor. Check yourself all over. And if you feel something weird, don't fucking ignore it, man. Like, really don't. Because, you know, like, feel yourself up. That's the best way to put it. Check your shit. Feel yourself up. If you got weird lumps and bumps, fucking go get that shit handled. Go get it taken care of. Because right now, we're young enough and we are, relatively speaking, healthy enough to where, like, you'll be okay. You know? You'll be okay. But, like, don't ignore shit. You know?
Well, I think that's the scariest shit on my end, because, like, I'm pretty sure if that happened to me, I would just have to die. Because the insurance would just be like, no, sorry, that'll be $85,000 a week for the rest of your life. And okay, well, it's either die or leave my great grandchildren in financial ruin. So guess I'll die. Thanks, America.
But you won't know them. It's fine.
Yeah. Fuck them kids.
They'll be fine. Yeah, fuck them kids. No, but you know what I mean? Like, but get yourself checked out, man. Like, everybody listening, fucking get yourself checked out. We're young enough, we're healthy enough, relatively speaking, to be able to get through quite a bit now. And like, you know, my blood pressure thing. My blood pressure is usually crazy when I go to the doctor. But I've been working at it and lowering my sodium and all of that shit. And I went in to talk to my doctor on Monday, scared out of my mind about the conversation we were going to have. My blood pressure was whatever it's supposed to be, 120/80. It was 120/78.
Nice.
Totally fine. You know, like that. It's handled. It's good. Because I handled it.
You did the thing.
We'll handle this shit. So that's really where I'm at. You know, I'm 43. Not an old man. I got time to get through this. All of you have time to experience the joys of this and fucking fight your way through it.
Well said.
Was it? I feel like it was rambling. I don't know, man.
That's
it's a weird place
You're allowed
to be.
To ramble.
I'm adjusting. I'm adjusting to this probable diagnosis.
It's just I'm still adjusting to the exercise regimen that my friend Brian had told me I should be getting on when I went up to visit Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at exercising. I really
I don't know that anybody is.
I don't know. I'm watching those two. They're like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop and do like 50 push-ups or some shit like that. And I'm at Rick's. Remember, I started this almost a year ago at this point, where it was like I'm just gonna do 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups a day. So like now I'm up to 12 on everything. I'm doing 12. I don't know what you call them. Just I've got 2 8-pound weights, and I do 12 lifting my arms, 12 shoulder lifts. Just like you stand
shoulder
there.
Shrugs.
Shoulder shrugs. And I do 12 squats, 12 push-ups, and 12 sit-ups. And I hate it. It's at the point. It wasn't so bad like a week or so ago, but it's gotten so hot and humid that
it really has.
Ounce of me just wants to die. And just doing the exercise, I'm like stripped down to my underwear, fans blowing on me. I'm in the basement. I'm just like, I just have to get through this. I cannot stop. Because, and this is the thing that's motivating me right now, is theoretically we're going to go see my sister-in-law. They've opened their pool this year, which we didn't think was going to happen. And her boyfriend's probably going to be there, and he's like a big beefy dude. And I'm like, I'm just not interested in going there feeling insecure around this person. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stick with it for fuck's sake. And it's that I have to do it twice. That's what Brian told me was like, that was the big thing. You have to do it
once
twice.
In the morning, once at night.
No, you do it and then do something else for like 5-10 minutes. So like I'll come downstairs after walking the dog. I'll do all the reps of 12. Then I'll sit down and I'll do some more PSIO serial number transfers. Because that's still going on. I am still transferring serial numbers every single day. I'll do those and I'll close a couple of tickets and then I do it again. And then he said, it would be great if you do it 3 times, right? You do that a third time, but then you cut the number down. So I could do like 2 sets of 12 and then a third set of just 10. And holy shit, I just won $20.
Nice.
On a 10-cent spin, I just won $20. Well, that's fucking great.
Nice.
Go me. But anyway, I have not I cannot bring myself to do the third. I cannot. I'm not there yet. As a human, who is engaged in what can only be considered sloth for most of my life. I am just not at the point of doing 3 workouts a day. Though I really do need to try and fit cardio back into my schedule. It's one of the things I'm trying to figure out for the summer.
I mean, you're walking the dog.
Yeah, I'm walking the dog, but it's not getting my heart rate up enough. Like, at least not...
Okay.
When I was doing Ring Fit a couple times a week, that was getting my heart rate up a lot. Because, that's very cardio. I'm not doing any of that. There's nothing that I'm doing on a regular basis that's getting my heart rate up that much and sustained. So I need to try and find a way to fit. Basically, I just want to do the post-game content in Ring Fit again, and then just keep going from there, because it's fun exercise. And since I'm doing all the other like weight training, and I am walking the dog for 2 miles a day, like that's not nothing. So I think if I can pull off just doing Ring Fit once a week, I think would help me. Maybe twice would be grand, but maybe I'll. I got my drum set cleared out in the garage, so maybe I can find time to... Not in the summer. Don't say that. That's what I want to do. I want to sit out in my fucking garage and roast in front of my drum set in the summer. That sounds like a great plan. No, I could go for a bike ride or something. But, I really need to fit some cardio in my life.
That's the thing.
What I'm getting down to.
You're doing something.
Exactly, I'm doing something.
Like you're doing something, and literally anything is better than being like, well, it's not going to make a difference.
Exactly.
Like, literally,
and that's my entire
is
mindset about this. Is like, I don't need to be amazing. I just need to do better. And it's interesting because I'm figuring out that I need to do more cardio because I'm feeling that in my daily life. Like I am feeling stronger since I started doing this, and I'm feeling I feel like I look a little bit better. But
sure.
I am more easily winded now than I was last year at this time because I'm not.
But by the time I get
cardio.
up the stairs, I'm like, oh fuck.
I was at geez. All right, so I took Ellie to her first professional baseball game this week.
Oh, that's right. How did that go?
We went to go see the Phillies. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast.
Awesome. Did they win?
They did. But on the way out of the stadium, Ellie was fucking around on the escalator, and she scraped her leg. So I had to carry her all the way back to the car. Yeah. Which it's
not great.
No, it wasn't spectacular. Did not bring warm fuzzies to my cold pricklies. But I was able to do it. It hurt because my daughter is made out of dark matter. She children are, I found, just incredibly dense, which is so weird because like her friends are not like the neighbor girls or whatever. Whenever we're goofing around, I can carry them just fine. That's not a problem. But Ellie, picking her up, carrying her around, that is not easy stuff.
Did you get ice cream in a helmet?
Yes, well, she did. I got water ice instead.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, ice cream in a helmet was had.
Yes, that was
nothing
her
else
whole
matters.
thing. Her whole thing was she wanted to get popcorn, she wanted to get cotton candy, and she wanted to get popcorn, cotton candy, pizza, and ice cream. And she got all 4 of those things.
That's amazing.
And she was able to like get into the game. And I have to say that fucking pitch clock, that changes.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
It's the best thing ever because it kept the game moving along because this game was boring. There was 1 score in the entire game. What's his nuts hit a home run, and we just barely missed it.
Bryce Harper
hit a home run. It was a 2-run home run. Almost nobody got on base for the entire game, but there was like one really cool play where the other team almost scored, and we got him out at home plate, which was really exciting to see. And like we got to see Bryce Harper run the bases, but we missed the home run because we were coming back from getting pizza when it happened. Yeah. But like it was a boring ass game. But
sure,
it was going by fast enough as we were, every day we'd do an inning or two, and then we'd be like, all right, let's go get cotton candy. Let's go find something else. And man, I had it. The hot dog was so good. I have not had a proper Hatfield ballpark Frank in so long, and it was so goddamn good, and everything was so stupid expensive. It was just
it's brutal.
It's brutal, and they don't take cash anymore. There's no cash at the stadium. They have reverse ATMs where you put cash in them and get a card that you can use at the stadium, which is really mind-blowingly
because why not?
Strange. Yeah, exactly. Because why not? It's so bizarre to me. But so it was super fun. The water ice I got was delicious. Seeing she was interested enough in the game. If it was a more interesting game, she probably would have been more interested in the game itself. But as nothing was happening, she's like, "Well, what's going on?" It's like, what was God, I can't remember the. I'm so bad with names.
The Brewers,
not the Brewers. The other guy who goes up right after. He's another one of our better players. He's the real skinny guy.
Brandon Marsh with the hair.
No, he's out right now, I think, with the greasy hair.
Oh, is he? That's Brandon. That's Brandon Marsh. Bryson Stott.
No, not Stott.
Bryson Stott. Fucking Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber. I think that was it. I'm pretty sure it was Schwarber, but he's up bad, and everyone's cheering, and she's like, "Why is everyone cheering this guy?" I was like, "Well, he's one of our better players," and she was like, "But he's not hitting the baseball."
Tonight it's really hard.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't think she had quite enough appreciation for is how hard it is. Because we're explaining I'm trying to explain a home run to her, and she's like, "Well, why don't they just hit it out there? Why don't they just do that every time?
Just hit it where they're not."
It's not easy to do that. So it's like every single piece of the park's like. So even if they hit it in those bushes over there, I was like, yes, if it goes over the fence between that yellow thing and that yellow thing, it's a home run. And it was really fun at the very end of the game when we were working on getting the last guy out, and everybody's standing up and she's like clapping and getting into it and dancing around all the music, and it was just
that's
one
awesome.
Of those absolute magical experiences. It was just it was exactly what you would want it to be.
That's what baseball is, man. That's live
it really
baseball.
Is. It's such a fun sport.
It really is, and the perfection that most stadiums are of the music and the timing, and now let's bring out the fucking Fanatic, and it's a fucking Fanatic, yay! And then all right, now it's time to it's just. Yeah. It's this beautiful dance between the players and the audience and the people that are working there, and it's just this incredible performance. That's really live sports. It fucking sucks that they're so expensive,
right? The only way we were able to do this
that they are so expensive.
Just the two of us, and it's because we got one of the tickets for free. If there wasn't that, then we would just... And minor league baseball is not the same, It's
not.
Great.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
It's great.
It's great. But you're not going to that big stadium. You're not getting all those same ridiculous concessions and stuff like that.
The bells and whistles.
Yeah, you're not getting the bells and whistles. And, I was telling Ellie, though, I used to go see the Phillies for, class trips. I must have seen the Phillies 8 or 9 times when I was a kid. It was just a thing you could do. And
back in Veterans Stadium, that fucking dump.
That place was a shithole.
Oh my God, it was the worst.
But yeah, I used to go see
There's
the Phillies
a spot in the outfield
and...
where you could feel the manhole cover. Players used to legitimately complain that they would trip on the manhole cover.
That's amazing.
Either it was in the outfield, and it was somewhere around the opponent's 40-yard line when the Eagles would be playing. There was a legit fucking manhole hazard.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's coldest I've ever been in my entire life is in that stadium.
I've seen the Phillies a bunch of times as a kid. I used to go see the Yankees with Karen when we lived in New York or North Jersey in New York. I used to go see the Yankees from time to time. It wasn't super cheap or anything like that, but it wasn't prohibitively expensive. And I've seen the Flyers a couple of times, but now, like, you know, God forbid you want to see a football game.
Well, that really is like, well, and you just took Karen, what, 2 years ago to the Steelers?
Yeah, it was more than that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like 4 years ago now, right? Because it was for a 40th
and it was
birthday.
like $6,000.
Yeah, it was. We had to crowdfund it. Like that's how. That was the only way we could afford to get
like
all
that,
of us to go. Is we had
how
to
fucking
crowdfund
nuts
it.
is that?
Yeah, and
how
like
fucking crazy is that?
We're watching whenever I watch the Phillies now, and like you just see all the seats that are right down there behind home plate.
Yeah,
you just looking at the crowd. It's like they're not empty; they're all white. Like, when was the last time you watched a baseball game and saw, like, anybody other than rich white folks behind the home plate?
Oh, sitting back there?
It's so stark. It struck me, like, 2 weeks ago. I was watching a game, I was like, holy shit. That, like, the only people that are back there in the good seats are, like, super rich people. It's so gross.
It is.
And, like, here's the other thing. With that they don't take cash anymore. Because they don't take cash, everything you pay on these tablets and everything you buy, they're asking for tips.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, look, you are already
and
charging.
It's awkward not to give them one.
It is. I didn't because...
It's awkward.
Fuck.
I don't either.
I'm already spending $8 on water ice. Like, how dare you? But, and especially like the first person we came in contact with was like somebody who worked there. They were trying to get everybody their seats. We asked him for, you know, directions in the seats, and he was super great with Ellie and all that. That guy was wonderful. And then Ellie was like, all right, I want to get popcorn. So we were looking for a place to get popcorn. We found it. We walk up to the counter. The woman behind the counter is like, what? What do you mean? I got my super happy, bubbly little girl with her Phillies hat on that she borrowed from a friend, and like, we're all ready to go. And she's like, what? Like, can I have some popcorn, please? Fine. And then she has the fucking nerve to put the tablet in front of me asking for a tip. Like,
yeah.
You know what? If you were like super awesome, I probably would cough up the extra buck. I really would, because I love it.
Probably.
When customer service is great, I am willing to make stupid purchases, you know? Like, it's just...
Sure.
But if you're not even going to make any even vague attempt at even being kind... I'm sorry.
Yeah. At even being human in this moment.
Yeah. Like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But I did.
I think I would like to be an usher at a baseball stadium when I retire.
That would be fun. That would be a fun job.
I think I'd be good at that.
Yeah.
You know? I think I'd be pretty good at that. Yelling at drunk assholes like, hey! Stop saying cunt that loud. What's wrong with you?
I did, so Ellie, her friend Coraline lent her, a Phillies shirt and a baseball cap. And she was thrilled. Like,
That's
Karen
cool.
went out and got them, borrowed them from her, and Ellie was just over the moon. And I was like, all right, I should probably get some sort of Phillies t-shirt or something to wear, right? So we can match, because she would be thrilled about that. And so I jump online, and like, everything's expensive. The cheapest shirt I can find is like $27. I'm like, God, this is terrible. And then, against my better judgment, clicked on the Walmart app, and they had the Philly shirt for $17. And you know I hate Walmart with all of my heart and soul.
I know you do. Of course.
I was like, all right, $17, and it's going to make Ellie really happy. So I drove out to Walmart, and I went and found a Philly shirt for $17. And while I was there, as I'm driving there, I'm having this thought in my head, like, look, I like baseball, but I'm a hockey guy. And it seems somehow wrong for me to get a Phillies shirt, get any sort of Phillies merchandise before I get any Flyers merchandise. It just feels wrong to me. But you know what? This is the world we live in. Everything's fine. So I get there, I get the Phillies shirt, and then I see Flyers shirts on clearance. I was like, oh.
Damn you, Walmart.
This shirt's awesome. It's my size, and it's $3. Oh, look, here's another one for $5. So I can get 2 Flyer shirts for $8. Fine. So I got the Phillies shirt and 2 Flyers shirts, and now I won't go back to Walmart for a long time, and hopefully that'll be fine. But God, I know we make the joke I can't afford not to buy it, but seriously, a $3 Flyer shirt that fits me, like, I would have been a fool. I would have been a fool.
You would have been
to walk out of there without it. But now I'm ready for Flyer season. Now I'm ready, and I have a Philly shirt because I like baseball. It's fun, and I really thought that when I started watching it, that Karen would, probably try and get back into watching the Yankees, but she just hasn't. She's been enjoying watching the Phillies with me, but like she's not chasing after baseball so much anymore. She's really enjoying watching the baseball, and she's still like, she roots for the Phillies as in like, it would make me happy and it's the local team, but she still, is a Yankees fan, but she's not really actively trying to watch the Yankees.
Yankees are the best team in baseball right now.
Ain't that something?
Like, she really should be watching them. They're fucking great. They're really, really good right now.
I'm kind of astonished at how well the Phillies are doing. I mean, I guess maybe I shouldn't be. I know they've been going to playoffs and stuff for a couple of years now, but like,
they almost made the World Series last year. They're a really, really good team. It's a huge, huge shame that Mike Trout got hurt again, because there were all these rumors circulating that, and even the fucking local radio station out of Philly, WIP, was doing a campaign. They were getting people to like write an email to ask out Trout, so that he would ask to be traded out of from the Los Angeles Angels to the Phillies. He grew up in Millville, New Jersey. He's an incredible player. He was a Phillies fan growing up. It would just be awesome to have Mike Trout play meaningful baseball, because like that's the biggest crime of baseball, is that it is very often the case that the best players in the world don't ever play in truly meaningful moments. You know what I mean? Like, because baseball is just that one weird sport where Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, fucking Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, like all of these guys are incredibly good at their job. And they have the chance to impact the game 3 or 4 times over the course of 9 innings. They get up to bat 3 or 4 times and a ball is hit to them a couple of times. You know what I mean? So maybe what, 6 or 7 times in the course of 27 outs, or not 27, but 54 outs between both teams. Like, they have a chance to impact the game. Whereas with basketball, LeBron James touches the ball every play. In football, the quarterback touches the ball every play. In hockey, they all touch the puck every single, like the superstars get to shine in the biggest moments. And baseball has a guy like Mike Trout, who is a generational player, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, languishing on the Los Angeles Angels because they suck. And they've sucked his entire career. Even when they signed Shohei Ohtani and they had Ohtani and Trout, they've been awful. They haven't been to the playoffs in years. Like, it's sad. It sucks. I don't know. I still love it, though. I still fucking love baseball. It's the best.
Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for baseball. I just really enjoy watching it. It's been fun getting into it on a, getting to watch the Phillies. And as I grow older and look more and more like my grandfather, it's been kind of fun to, because those are the things I remember about my grandfather was, him cursing at the Phillies growing up in the 80s and him cursing at the Flyers. Sure. And, Phillies and Flyers are the sports teams that kind of run through my family. And I guess Eagles to an extent, but I feel like my family's never been quite as football heavy. Like, they're just all very hockey and a degree of baseball. And which is fine because Karen is all football all the time. Like, everything else is every other sport is an appetizer to her. It's like football season is where it is at. No, it's just been it's been fun having a bit of a sports awakening in the last year. So
that's awesome. Sports rule.
Sports do rule. Good time. Great oldies.
Good times. Yeah, great oldies.
So, have you played any video games this week?
Nothing more than I've been a little distracted, honestly. I haven't been able to focus on much this week. So I played a bunch of Balatro pretty terribly this week. Like, just not getting very far. Which is sad because I quite like that game. It's just really, really fun and really engaging, and figuring out the mechanics and how to manipulate the cards and the decks and all of that good stuff. Yeah, like that's been pretty nuts. Then a little bit more last night of Animal Well, which is just still this incredibly engaging, beautiful experience that I have no idea what the fuck is happening. I don't even know. And I don't even know that it matters. You know, like it's just this really fucking wild experience. But just that, and the new season of Snap started this week. So I've really just been focusing on things to distract me from spiraling. You know what I mean? And for that kind of stuff, I need something like, you know, Snap, to where I know what's happening. I know what I'm doing here. I don't need to focus too intensely and try to like get into a story or figure out a story. We've also been watching this show that Tiff wanted to watch called Why Women Kill. It wasn't good. It wasn't not good because it was like a fucking true crime, you know, chick murdering show, the way that a lot of these things are. It was like a 6-episode series that went on for 10 episodes. I was like, okay, I get it. All right, these bad people, the bad things are happening. Fine. Can we please move on to like getting some of this, you know, resolved? And there actually was like this really nice moment, and they did this kind of really sweet thing because it told the story of 3 couples that lived in this house in California, and one couple in the 60s, one couple in the 80s, and one couple in the modern day. Actually, a throuple in the modern day, which is very sexy. And it was done really well up until a point where like some of the stuff started coming off the rails. But in a twist, spoilers for anybody who has heard of this show and might watch it, the woman in the 80s is played by Lucy Liu. Her husband is gay, and he gets AIDS in the 80s, which meant that was it. Right? There was no treatment, there was no nothing. And her reason for killing her husband was like a mercy killing. So it was like, oh, it's a twist at the end. Like, that's why she did it, because he was sick, you know, and this like fucking saved him. And that's really kind of awesome. And is, you know, so that was like really cool the way that was done. But it just kept going. Like it just wouldn't fucking stop. It was like, all right, enough. I get it. You told your story. Let's go. You know. I don't know. That's what we did most of this week, was watch this show and play Snap. Well, I played Snap. Tiff didn't play Snap. She doesn't like it.
Good enough. Well,
what about you?
Well, I have not done much game playing at all. Just it's been a busy week between John's been on the honor roll all year, which we recently found out about.
That's awesome.
So he had like a brunch to go to, and Karen's been stressing her ass off about this show that she's doing this weekend. We took Ellie to the Phillies game. So yeah, there hasn't really been any gaming this week. Like, just pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Until last night for 20 minutes. I was recording Turning Tracks with Matt, and during the show, Nintendo dropped all 5 Mega Man Game Boy games on Nintendo Switch Online. I was like, shit.
They did indeed.
That's really exciting to me. So instead of going to bed on time, I went upstairs and did a quick little side trip. I was like, well, I gotta at least update the app. And so I updated the app.
At the very least, so that you could play it the next day if you had some time.
Right. So I went upstairs and I updated the app. I was like, all right, well, I gotta open up the app, right? Because I want to see little boxes flip around. And then I did. And it's like, all right, well, I should probably put them in order, arrange my icons because I'm anal about that. Of course. And so I did that for a little while on both the North American and Japanese accounts because you get to see all the Japanese box art too, which is really cool. And then I was like,
that's very nice.
I should probably play.
While I'm here.
I mean, let's just see how it plays, right? The Game Boy games all play well on it. So let me just boot up the first one. And so I beat Cutman, and it was lovely because those games, especially the first one, Dr. Wily's Revenge, it's got a lot of cheap shots in it, so yay, rewind button.
Yeah.
It's like I've beaten all these games. I've beaten every one of the Game Boy games at least twice. So I've got nothing to prove to nobody. So I was just like, I'm going to use that rewind button. Yay! Because I had tried replaying the Mega Man games on my 3DS like last year, and I've never liked playing the Mega Man games on the 3DS just because I like to be able to press buttons fast, and I don't know, the 3DS just isn't good I like to hold a controller when I play Mega Man games. So I'm just so thrilled that these are on my TV. I'm so happy about it. That's really all the gaming I did last week. I was very excited about me as a Star Wars whore. I was very excited about Acolyte.
I did not watch it yet.
Okay. Then I won't say much other than I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes.
I figured you would because everybody else hated him.
Not everybody else. In fact, there seems to be an awful lot of people that did like it. But there's a really, really loud contingent of people who hated it before they even watched it, and that's the internet. Well, that is the fucking internet. Like it was already getting review bombed before the first episode aired, and because like the reviews that were tearing it to shreds are like it's just a bunch of hyper feminist woke garbage, and it's like okay, but it's not. Like
yeah,
it just wasn't in the episodes. I'm sorry that you think it is. Or that you were assumed it was going to be like people just like busting out like, these are my pronouns, bitch, and everything's gay. And like, there's none of that.
Everything's super fucking gay.
There's absolutely none of that. I was just really interesting. The second episode more than the first one. The first one was very interesting and cool until like the end where it like, you hear whatever the evil Sith dude who throws the lightsaber in the trailer, you hear that person say something, and it just kind of abruptly stopped the episode, and it really just, I don't know, felt weird. That little bit felt off, but and then the second episode was just all wonderfulness, but it was really cool. It was mostly the same scene that I saw at the end of Phantom Menace, with Carrie-Anne Moss fighting somebody, and it was really awesome seeing her do martial arts again because, like, she was so fucking cool in The Matrix, and
she really was.
I feel like I can't say I've seen her do anything else actiony. She was in what was it, Jessica Jones, but she didn't do any action sequences in that. She was a lawyer.
Yeah,
but like it was really cool seeing her do martial arts again. And somebody had pointed out on Twitter a really interesting observation about it is like, the way they're portraying Jedi at this period of time is the lightsaber is the last resort. The lightsaber is, okay, now shit's serious. Like, they handle it with just the Force beforehand, which is why it's all this martial arts-based stuff, right? Somebody comes at them and they're like, we don't need the lightsaber, we're just going to handle this with the Force. And then if shit gets really real, that's when the lightsaber comes out.
Right.
So there's like, you get, in the first 2 episodes, you see 2, and I'm going to technically say 3 fight sequences where you get to see like just Jedi at their fucking prime who don't pull out their lightsabers. And then there's this other dude who just became a Jedi Master who seems really desperate to prove himself, and he's whipping that thing out every single possible chance he gets. He's just like, Shit's out. Just waving it around. Here it is. I'm ready.
Look
I'm
at
fucking ready for everything. Daphne Keene's really fun to see in it, especially since we just watched Logan for the first time. I think last week or the week before, Karen and I finally watched that movie, which was great.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But it's neat seeing Daphne Keene as a weird-looking Jedi character.
Yeah.
There's lots of creatures, lots of the Asian guy who was in Squid Game, who's playing one of the Jedi Masters. He is so great.
Is he? That's awesome.
Yeah, Master Soul is his character. He's apparently a huge Star Wars fan. He loves Qui-Gon Jinn, and he learned English for this part. Like, how great is that?
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
And he's great.
He was really good in Squid Game, too. Like, he was legitimately really, really good.
I never
saw
liked him
it, quite a bit.
He's great in this. His character is wonderful. He's definitely my favorite character by far. But I don't dislike anybody. There was a whole mystery thing in the first episode that I was pretty convinced was like, oh man, they're going to drag this shit out for the whole show, aren't they? Like, it's going to be the big reveal, and we all figured it out in 5 minutes. No, they wrapped that shit up right quick. It was done and solidified at the middle of the second episode. It's just like, okay, we're not playing around with this. We know exactly who this character is, and we're going. Okay, hooray! No, I really
That's
enjoyed
awesome.
it. Yeah, it's good Star Wars stuff. It's good Star Wars. Liked it. Looking forward to more. Very interested. But I'm a Star Wars fan, so I'm slightly easy to please. But yeah,
sure. But I like good Star Wars.
Yeah, I can differentiate between this and the Book of Boba Fett, you know? I love Book of Boba Fett, but I also am well aware that show is very problematic. That show is
just not good.
It's just not well put together. But this is not that. I didn't have any problems with this one, besides that weird ending of the first episode. Just felt kind of off to me. But yeah, I know the fandom menace absolutely hates this show, and it's got everything to do with the creator. Like, the woman who did this show is like,
well, made the mistake of being a woman, first of all, Chris. So that's not nothing.
And if you look at a picture of this woman, she looks like these people's nightmare of a person. You know, that's just the way she presents herself. And like, oh, this is clearly trash because she's in charge of this. And there's some sort of rumor going around that the third episode, which is why everyone's review bashing it, is that, apparently the third episode, which very few people on Earth have seen and nobody can confirm, but apparently in the third episode, they're going to upend all of Star Wars history, completely change the Force to be like feminist or something like that. Like,
oh, sure. No, that makes sense.
Not okay. All right. I mean, I'll wait till I see it to pass any kind of judgment, because that's what a rational person would do. But
space wizards with laser swords. Shut up.
They had this whole...
Stop it.
In the beginning of the first episode, there's this spot where this character is fixing a ship, and some sort of like chemical thing pops, and there's fire coming out of the ship. And everyone's like, there can't be fire in space. There's like actual fire coming out of this. There can't be fire in space. And then, of course, everybody with a brain is just like, it's Star Wars. There's always fire in space. And they're showing screenshots of like, look at this Star Destroyer on fire. Look at that TIE fighter that burst into flames. It was spinning around. Oh, yeah, and you can hear the TIE fighter in space because there's sound in space in Star Wars, too. And then they're like, no, this is like a campfire. You can hear campfire sounds. And it's like, okay, first off, I didn't hear that.
No, those fires are okay. This fire is bad.
This fire is bad. But here's the thing. I didn't hear the campfire sounds.
This fire
back and listen to it again. I still couldn't hear it. But what's happening in the scene is she looks at the fire, and she's having like a vision of a flashback of being in the woods where there's a campfire. And you're hearing voices, and it's like, that's why that sound is there. The fire is not making the sound of crackling woods. It's what she's hearing, what she's remembering from looking at the fire. That's how TV shows and movies work. It's a visual narrative thing. And if you aren't just completely obsessing over your hate boner for Star Wars, because of all the glorious engagement farming you can get out of hating everything, then it all makes sense and it's fine. Like, just stop. Just stop with the grifting. Like, people's entire personalities online are just
grift, Chris.
You have to grift. You got to make that paper, right? You got to make that money because hate sells. I read. I was so curious about this one. Somebody posted something just so incredibly asinine, and then the first comment under it was his own that was pointing to his blog. So he made a hate rage bait post so that people would click on his blog, and I was like, you know what?
Of course,
I'm feeling just stupid enough. I gotta know. I have to know. What are you doing? So I start reading it, and it starts off with just like, as somebody who was homeschooled, super religious, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, we're already off to a great start. And I'm skimming through the article because I cannot stomach to read all of it, but I'm waiting to get to a point, right? I'm trying to figure out, what is your point? The hypothesis of this article, and I shit you not, was that Disney is intentionally throwing away hundreds of millions of dollars to ruin Star Wars because Satan told them to do it.
Wow. Cool. I love that guy.
It's real hard sometimes. It's rough out there. I'm like inches away from being like, all right, I gotta step back off of Twitter again. Like, I was really enjoying the Verdict Schadenfreude on Twitter. Like, I was really having a good time with that. That's been
pretty fun.
It seems to be simmering down a bit, and now it's just Star Wars hate and the other stuff we'll be bringing up in Week Old News. And it's like, this is just too toxic. I think I need to just at least stay away until the Acolyte's done airing, because I really like it. I'm really curious to watch it, which I just thought was so aggressively mediocre. It's just, this is a really, really fun, very different feeling flavored Star Wars thing. It's not attached to the Skywalker saga. It's all new characters, a whole different environment, different kinds of Jedi. I love that shit. Sign me up. Yeah,
I really want to watch it. I haven't had the mental energy for it yet, for like new Star Wars. You know what I mean? We haven't watched the new Doctor Who. We didn't watch last week or this week yet.
Right, we haven't watched tonight's yet because I'm here. And you didn't watch last week's yet?
No.
Oh man,
I just haven't had the energy. It was watching this dumb Why Women Kill show. Totally fine. You know what I mean? Like that did not require a bunch of I really got to pay attention to the subtleties here. Like, no, this was not subtle. So yeah.
Yeah, last week's Doctor Who was kind of a mind bender for me. I really, really liked it. I've
heard very good things.
The twist actually took me a second to catch on. Like, the thing happens at the end, and I was just like, wait, why? Oh no. And
okay.
Good, in a good way. Just like you'll that reaction will make sense when you see it. Just like, really, wow. I really liked it. I rather enjoyed that episode. Thank you, Drive Through. It's good stuff. Doing a good job this season. I'm very much enjoying it.
I've heard great stuff. Camper. I have not enjoyed it all that much, but I have heard really good things about last week's episode. So,
really, you didn't like the landmine episode or anything? Just not doing it for you?
It was all right. It was okay. I don't like the doc. I don't like that this doctor is unsure of himself and does not seem to know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to be like, what I think it is that if you look through like the Russell T Davies reboot originally in 2005, and then, you know, when Matt Smith came in, and when David Tennant came in, like, as each subsequent Doctor took over, within the first or second episode, they had their, you know, you go back and tell them it is defended moment.
Yeah.
They had their big stamp moment. And so far, this season of Doctor Who, in the episodes that I've watched, there's been a monster made out of boogers, which is fine.
It's very Russell T Davies.
Okay.
This is the guy who brought us the Celine.
Yeah, but it's a monster made out of boogers, where the Doctor
wasn't crazy about that.
like save the day. The episode with the Maestro, I thought the Maestro was very cool, but the Beatles happened to save the day because they happened to be walking by in the studio at the time and play the forbidden chord, which is like a C sharp minor or something. Like, that's the fucking devil's chord. Like, fuck off. That was stupid. Like, that's a chord that nobody's ever fucking used ever. But I thought the Maestro was so fucking compelling.
Yeah,
like the performance that Jinx
Pantheon,
gave.
the Pantheon stuff that they're cooking, because that was
Yeah,
related to the Neil Patrick Harris's
maker
character. Yeah, the toy maker.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in whatever that's cooking. That's interesting.
I am.
But yeah, no,
right. I want to know
I'm
more of
with
that
you too.
But then
the baby episode, I was like, I don't know, man.
Okay. And then the musical number at the end of the second one, I was like, it's all right, that's fine. And then third episode, I love Stephen Moffat.
I have a thought on that musical thing. The whole thing, there's always a twist at the end, right? That's the song. It seems that every episode so far this season, there's been a twist at the end. And here's what's weird about that. The woman who's appeared in every episode, notice that there's an old woman. It's the same actress who's appeared in every episode, and that actress's last name is Twist.
Right.
There's something going on there. Because
of course there is.
This is the motherfucker that Bad Wolfed us, right? Kept that chain going for a long time. He is building to something, and like Karen and I are both sitting there watching this musical number being like, what the fuck is happening right there? Like, what is happening right now? And in the most recent episode, not the one that aired tonight, they finally acknowledged that old woman. They acknowledged that I feel like I've seen her around somewhere. They're just like, all right, you're doing something. You're up to something. I feel like there's going to be some kind of payoff. It's fucking weird and very uncomfortable at the time. But then when it was all, a couple episodes later, I'm like, this is going to have some kind of meaning. I just know it. This is going to mean something.
I hope so. Because like that third episode, I liked it. Like, you standing on the landmine, it was fine, but I've already seen Silence in the Library. Like, it was the same episode. It's fine. I like Stephen Moffat. The episode after that, like, what the fuck could old Ruby have said to all of these people to make them run away. The fuck away? Like, and that's just not resolved. Like, what could she have said to Lethbridge Stewart to make her take Unit just the fuck away? Like, there was an idea there, but like, you didn't fucking pay it off. Like, it just happened, and the Doctor wasn't there. Like, it's a very odd show so far. That cheesed me. The Doctor is very secondary. Right? Yeah,
definitely in that episode. What are they? The Doctor.
I would say in all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the girl from the third one, the nurse that shows up, like the nurse soldier, she's the companion in the second season.
Yeah, she's the next companion.
Like, so, like, what do we like? And I'm interested because I trust Russell, but like, I'm not super blown away yet.
I really enjoyed the landmine episode, and I get it. He's done that trick before, but I thought it was really well executed. I thought Nshuti, is that how you say his name? Pretty sure that's it. I thought he was. I really enjoyed his performance.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Yeah, I just really thought he was very fun to watch in that episode, and I liked the twist at the end.
Yeah,
this last one was also very interesting. I very much enjoyed that one too. And they do seem to be getting better, because right at the beginning I really wasn't totally feeling it, but
yeah,
now where we are and knowing that what we were just talking about with her, I had the same gripe, right? What could she have possibly said to make everybody run away and leave her alone? What could that have possibly been? And then we don't find out about it, and then it ultimately doesn't mean anything, because like it's resolved, and then she's right back where she was.
We just
like
move
none of
on.
that ever happened, and we just moved on.
Yeah,
right. Now, if that is just a little one-off thing, okay, it was an interesting episode, I guess, to watch, but I have more questions at the end of it than I did when I went into it, and that's not what I want. But I'm reminded of shit like, God, I don't remember what season it was. It was one of the Matt Smith seasons where like he went and talked to it was when the Weeping Angels, I think, were in her eye, and he went and talked to her on the in the woods and comforted her, and then left. And it, like, you didn't even notice at the time that he was wearing a different outfit, and then like 7 episodes later, it all comes back, and you see him go and do that moment, and all the pieces fit together. Right? That's kind of what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that to all start falling into place. I'm hoping to. But in the meantime, compared to where we have been, I am thrilled.
This is the most Doctor Who I've watched in years.
Because I really thought that the Jodie stuff started off well. I was excited to see where they were going with it, and then it just continuously just rolled downhill and downhill and downhill. And I don't know, I think there is a piece of the Doctor's character that was just intrinsically broken with all the weird lore shit they started tacking on during the Chibnall era. Like, they just were straight up like changing all kinds of shit. Like, he was adopted, and he's the something child, or prophesized,
the timeless child.
Yeah, like, wow, they really just went all the way back in the lore and said, we are fundamentally changing the Doctor's perception on who this character even is. And by the time it was, now we've got, he's only one of 2 Doctors that are out there now, because like David Tennant's still just chilling out there. Like, that happened.
Yeah, he is indeed.
He is chilling. So he's half the Doctor. So yeah, the lack of confidence, I think narratively makes sense, but I'm looking forward to more of him knowing everything and spouting all the words and doing something, reversing the polarity of the neutron flow and fixing the problem. I'm
being the Doctor.
I'm looking forward to more of that, and I did think that there was a degree of that in last week's episode. I think we're getting there. So,
all right,
I'll
take it.
I'll take
with
that, we should probably take a break because we got a bunch more stuff to talk about, and it's not getting any earlier. So you are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com, and when we come back, I forgot to say this part, we're going to talk about what's new at Stone Age Gamer, and we're going to hit up some week-old news. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new from us and our partners at geekade.com.
First up, have you ever met someone named Alice and thought to yourself, fuck, this lunatic needs to be chained up? I mean, I know that I have. My aunt is named Alice. She's like in her late 70s. Can't be fucking trusted, though. Like, every time we go over to her house, I'm like, it's fucking shady. Anyway, there's a rock band whose entire musical catalog is dedicated to songs about chaining up people named Alice. They're called Alice in Chains, and everything I just said is a verifiable fact. Actually, it's not. I'm a liar, except for that part about my actual Aunt Alice. She can't be trusted. But like that Henry Rollins song, which is famously not by Alice in Chains. The song's called Liar. It's really good. He's got like a Superman costume on. He's a really good TikTok follow, by the way. Neither here nor there. What is by Alice in Chains, though, is the track list in the newest episode of Turning Tracks. It was Matt's pick, and he chose this absolutely fantastic band. Which songs did he choose? And if you're unfamiliar, why should you love this band too? We'll find out in Turning Tracks, episode 20, Alice in Chains. I'm very excited to listen to this one. Alice in Chains is legitimately one of my favorite bands of all time.
They're great. I didn't have a ton of experience with them before, but like I told Matt at the beginning of the episode, I can't say I've ever heard a song by them that I didn't like. And yeah, it was a very enjoyable episode. I liked every single track he put in front of my face. It's good stuff.
What a fucking band. Just what a band. And like, I know you could go see him on tour now because they have a singer to replace Lane, and he's really, really good, but he's not Lane. So I can't do it. You know, they're one of the few bands that I regret not ever having seen live.
Word.
Anyway.
Next,
word.
When it comes to memorable video game weapons, a golden axe isn't really one of them. But when it comes to memorable beat-em-ups from the olden days, Golden Axe absolutely fits the bill. In an all-new episode of the Waveback Podcast, Matt and I spent some quality time with the music from the arcade version of this Sega side-scrolling beat-em-up classic. How do these tunes hold up today? Learn all about it in Waveback episode 174, Golden Axe.
Do you ever actually get a Golden Axe in Golden Axe?
No, Death Adder has the legendary Golden Axe. That's the thing.
Right, that's what it is. I have not played through that game in yes, quite a while. Anyway,
let's just not finish that sentence and feel old.
Yeah, right. Finally, in an all-noon episode of I sounded like I said all noon.
All noon.
Either way, in an all-nude episode of Weekend Rental, the gamers have had quite a memorable week. Apparently, Andy solved a murder in his pants, which isn't nearly as easy as the people on television make it look. Fair. Meanwhile, Ryan hates spray foam, and really, who can blame him? Sure, it looks and tastes amazing, but is it really as useful as the spray can makes it sound? And then, of course, there's the wonders of Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, a video game that actually exists. Be sure to tune in to Weekend Rental episode 178, The Gamers Get Squirrely.
For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. Everybody, we are back, which means it is time for What's New at Stone Age Gamer. What is new at Stone Age Gamer
Nothing.
is a segment of the show where we talk about what is new at Stone Age Gamer. And you're right, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Fat lot of nothing. Big heaping stacks of nothing. Open up boxes, they're fucking empty. Nothing.
Just a bunch of packing peanuts.
There are lots of packing peanuts. Let's see. What is new at Stone Age Gamer this week? This is week 9 of still waiting on those Power-Based Minis. You know, for anybody keep track.
Yeah.
This is week 9 just of doing the podcast. Again, been asking for them since September. But we're just since we started counting here on the show, week 9. Let's see if we can make it to 10, everybody. We got the HyperFlash 32 E-Ink 32 meg flash card for Virtual Boy in this week. Have you seen this thing?
I have not.
This is a super cool flash cart that has a screen on it. So, like, whatever game you load up, it loads the cover art onto the flash cart itself. In the little E-ink
That's
screen.
awesome.
It's really flippin' cool. It's a tad pricey because it's completely insane and it's a Virtual Boy flash cart.
Sure.
But I love it. I think it's awesome. I want one. There are also Retro Fighters just announced, and we'll be taking pre-orders soon-ish, I believe, on the Mantis, which is a mini wireless Bluetooth controller for PlayStation 4.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess I've never really got the mini controller thing. You know, I don't like mini controllers. Yeah. I like, decent, meaty-sized controllers. And the PS4 controller's pretty goddamn good already, so It seems like
It
a
is.
strange market.
It's a very nice
to tackle
controller.
for like let's make a good aftermarket controller. Like, well, the DualShock 4 is pretty great. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It seems like a thing. It seems like a thing that's happening. Is what the words I'm trying to say are just rambling. And last but not least, there's been a long-awaited update to. Oh no! I just got bad news. The Maze Landing Red Lobster is set to close as part of the company's bankruptcy. No! When is it closing? When is it closing? I go to Red Lobster every year for my birthday, and I knew that they were closing stores. I knew that they were closing stores. I already knew this was happening, but I'd hoped that the Maze Landing store was going to at least stay around through my birthday. Oh, stupid Press of Atlantic City won't let me read the article without signing up for stuff, and I don't want to sign up for stuff. When is it closing? It's what I want to know. Oh, profound sadness. I hope I get to go for my birthday one last time, or you know what? I'll just have to wind up going to one of the many actual seafood restaurants that are around here since I live, on the shore. But
I was gonna say you're pretty close to the seashore there, Chris, where she is selling seashells.
yeah, I'm not really hurting for good seafood, but here we are. Profound sadness.
Yeah.
I've been going there for my birthday ever since my 21st birthday. My ex-girlfriend took me there for my 21st birthday to have my first legal drink, and it was the most ridiculous, stupid thing I'd ever... It was some giant blue, stupid drink. It's just like, no, if you're going to...
And you hated all of it?
I did, because that was the point. It's like, well, if we have to take you out for you have to have a drink on your 21st birthday. It's just a thing. So let's find the dumbest drink we can. I was like, well, I love Red Lobster. They got Cheddar Bay biscuits. Let's go there. So I got biscuits and seafood and a really dumb blue Windexy drink, and it was a good time. And I've been going there for my birthday ever since, and I'm really sad that one's closing down. I really hope that they're still around like a week from now so that I can go there and get my birthday dinner. Oh, what the hell was I saying? Right, Trog Tech.
Red Lobster.
Oh, let me bring up the actual update so I know what the hell I'm talking about. So, speaking of Kickstarters that have gone through very, very long times, Trog Tech was doing the N64 Funtastic series shells. There's finally some light at the end of the tunnel with these things. They got pictures from the factory of all the parts, like they're done. They put the shells together, and these pictures are gorgeous. Like, these things look really, really slick. I can't wait to see one in person. They're just working on the boxes, but it looks like if everything goes according to plan, Stone Age Gamer, it says for the Trog Tech update, it says, we've come to an agreement with Stone Age Gamer to handle fulfillment of all the Kickstarter orders since they are better set up to process these as quickly as possible. After receiving the shipment, they said they would expect to have all Kickstarter orders fulfilled within 1 to 2 weeks. So we are looking at, theoretically, barring any other disastrous delays, that we'll be able to get these things out to Kickstarters by late August or early September. That's awesome. It is awesome. It is dreadfully past due. But this is one of those... But
that's not you guys.
It's not us. It's just been a lot of thumb twiddling, waiting for the factory to finish doing the work. And that's
like,
been very unfortunate.
Nothing could be done about that bit.
Yeah.
And at least they've been... Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've been pretty upfront and honest about what's going on.
They have been.
Right?
They've been upfront and honest about it. They haven't been doing as many updates as I personally would have liked to do.
Sure.
But, the reason's always been like, there's nothing to say. Like, we have absolutely no new information. We're just waiting. We sent them an email and they said, we'll get back to you. Like, that's not a Kickstarter update.
Right.
And I don't know, I would have personally erred on the side of like, well, then I would have just said that. Like, I would have done at least once a month, since it's been so long overdue. But that's just me personally. I think they've been handling it just fine. I know they're more frustrated than anyone else. I can't imagine they're happy that this has taken this long. But it does look like the shells will be worth the wait. If these pictures are any indication, they are fucking stunning. But yeah, so that's a thing. That's an update that's happening, and that is what's new at Stone Age Gamer this week. Which means it is time to roll up our sleeves, because it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment. Strap in for Week Old News. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was dramatic. New a week ago. I'm a very dramatic person. First story comes to us from IGN. Hundreds of stolen playdates worth $400,000 found after being hastily dumped at a local restaurant.
I saw the part that stuck out to me was restaurant.
Yeah, so Playdate tweets out a couple days ago on May 30th. May 30th. Did you hear the story about how $400,000 worth of playdates were misdelivered by FedEx to a construction site near a warehouse, and then someone just stole them? Seriously. Well, guess what just got hastily dumped at a random restaurant this morning? Welcome back, stolen playdates. What?
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
I'm glad they got
That's
them
a great
back.
story.
I'm glad that they got them back. That makes me happy. It is such a weird story. I would love to have one of these Playdate things someday. You know, I don't have the money, and I wouldn't use it very often, which is why I haven't bought one. But they're neat little things.
It's just so damn silly.
Right. It's so damn silly. Considerably less silly, though, this story comes to us from IGN. Geoff Keighley, well-known composer for games of the 80s and 90s, dies at 58. That is not old enough. That was pancreatic cancer.
Yep. That's one of the ones.
That's one of the ones. Let's not have that.
That's one of the ones. And I think he was only diagnosed in like mid-May, early May, and then like 2 weeks later. That was it.
According to Tim, Fallon passed away earlier this week while awaiting scans for a pancreatic cancer diagnosis on May 7th. Yeah, a month ago today when we're recording this. That's terrifying. But Spider-Man and X-Men, Terminator 2 Judgment Day,
Yeah, he and his brother have both done some truly incredible game soundtracks.
Yeah.
Including, I don't think it was the brother that passed away. I think it's the one who's still with us. I think he's the one who did what I consider possibly the most underrated soundtrack on the Nintendo, which is Silver Surfer.
Oh.
No,
Pictionary
Silver Surfer's soundtrack is...
Oh, yeah, Silver Surfer soundtrack is killer.
Incredible. And yes, I think one of the Folans did Pictionary.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big bummer.
That's the fucking worst, man.
It really
sucks.
is. Moving on, Nintendo Life reports Google employee reportedly tied to multiple Nintendo leaks. This is disgusting. I don't like leaks. Yeah. They piss me off, and apparently a lot of the Nintendo leaks that have been popping out all over the internet are from somebody who works at Google and just watched all their privated videos and then sent them out into the world.
Cool. What a good dude.
Yeah. Fucking gross.
Just why you gotta yuck somebody's yum?
Seriously, these people put time into trying to make these exciting announcements, and then you're gonna leak them out there so everybody can report on them and be like, here is the most boring way to find out this new information. Enjoy. Mwahaha.
Yeah.
Take all the fun out.
Prick.
6 years worth of potential privacy and security issues, because this was not just Nintendo. This was...
Oh, no. This is everybody.
The database, which contains incidents from 2013 and 2018, reportedly details a case in which a Google employee had accessed several private Nintendo videos and leaked the contents of them online. According to 404 Media, an internal investigation into the report concluded that the activity was non-intentional.
Okay. I mistakenly watched a bunch of videos that were private that were not mine.
And then shared them with the rest of the world.
Yes.
Anyways.
My bad.
Go Nintendo reports, this is an interesting one, Mod Retro Chromatic, a pixel-accurate Game Boy cartridge-compatible portable revealed. I think this is supposed to be like I don't know, somebody else's answer to the Analog Pocket, maybe?
I think so.
It looks neat. Like the actual physical thing looks neat. Comes in a bunch of different colors.
Yeah.
It's got the Chromatic features the only pixel-accurate Game Boy cartridge-compatible display. This 160 by 144 pixel 2.5-inch display behind a sapphire screen cover offers unparalleled crispness and accuracy. Game art is shown as the creators originally intended and creates a time machine-like experience. Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, keep up the good work. keep doing stuff like that. I'm into it. This one's fun. Pure Xbox reports Metal Slug is getting the Tactics treatment on Xbox later this year. Metal Slug Tactics, which was announced during was it a Game Awards thing from like a couple years ago?
2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Something like that. But it was coming to like PC and Switch. Now it's also coming to Xbox and PlayStation platforms. So, hooray! I'm glad this game isn't actually dead, because I know when this originally was announced, there was a lot of folks that were pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I remember, because I think that was the year that got announced, and like, I think that was when Advance Wars Reboot Camp and the Front Mission stuff. Like, I think we were talking about how like, like if you're into tactics games, this is shaping up to be pretty banger shit.
Well, yeah, I'm just glad it's finally coming. I'm glad it's not dead to the world, and we're gonna see the game. Moving on, IGN reports Just Cause developer Avalanche shuttering 2 studios and laying off 50 workers. So here's yet another week where we have to report about studio closures.
Wonderful.
It says the decision is, quote, necessary to ensure a stable and sustainable future for the company. This has been
we fucked up.
Yeah, it's been a brutal time.
We overextended ourselves, so we're going to make people pay for it. Not the people at the top who made the decision to overextend. No. Those guys are cool. Don't worry about them. They're fine.
I try and never worry about them. I make a serious effort.
I hate them. I hate them so much.
Speaking of executives, Push Square reports it's a truly exciting time for PlayStation as new Sony CEOs take control. The PlayStation community is at the heart of everything we do.
Yes.
So let's see. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEOs on June 1st, Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst, have issued a joint statement on the company's website. So there you go. PlayStation's got some new bosses in town, and they look like businessmen.
They really do. Herman Hulst has been there for a while, though.
Oh, yeah? He's a promotion? That's cool.
Yeah, I believe he's been there for... Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been there for, like, quite some time.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Well, it says the new CEOs will be approaching the business from a relatively fresh perspective. I don't know. I'd like to see some good stuff come out of PlayStation. I know this is their most profitable generation, but it's also been their most boring to me.
Yeah.
Except for a story that we'll get to later. But next up, Pure Xbox reports original S-model Xbox controller returns for Series S and X this August. This one took me way too long to get the joke. This is a new wireless version of the Xbox S-type controller. It is called the Duchess.
Instead of the Duke?
Instead of the Duke. It took me like a couple minutes to get that. It's like, the Duchess, that's a weird name. Oh, the other one's the Duke.
Cool.
Okay.
Wonderful. It's moving on.
The S-Type is a pretty decent controller, so...
it is. I like
cool.
that controller quite a bit.
Yeah, I had some good times with it.
Honestly.
Although, I don't know the last time you picked up one of those controllers, but Xbox controller cables are disintegrating. The plastic on the cables are just... Every single one of mine is just a sticky, disintegrating mess.
Huh.
Because they use cheap
That's
plastic
gross.
for the cables. Yeah, it is gross. Which shouldn't surprise us, considering, the boxes the original Xbox came in weren't, even strong enough to hold the Xbox console.
That is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Kotaku reports, following Fallout, Amazon Prime announces Yakuza TV series. Like a Dragon.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It seems like a brand fit for a TV adaptation. And the Fallout show was really good. So...
I gotta get to that one, too.
Yeah, you do. That was a great show. I've never experienced any interest in the Like a Dragon series, but I never really experienced any interest in Fallout.
I was going to say,
either.
it's about the same amount of interest you had for Fallout, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, what the hell? I'll give it a go. Let's see what it looks like. I will watch the trailer and make my decision from there. But, yeah all right. Let's keep this trend up of good video game adaptations to TV and or movies. I'm into it. Moving on. Retro RGB. Retro RGB posts Rodland official re-release. I can't say I'm familiar with Rodland.
I don't know what that is at all.
It's a Famicom game, and it's getting a release for NES and Game Boy. Let's see. Retro RGB is not super confident, it seems, that these are going to be built extremely well. But it's some sort of old Jalico game. It looks neat. I watched the trailer. It looks like a Famicom game. The trailer is the resolution in the trailer is awful. I don't know who put this trailer together. I think it's Retrobit. But yeah, you watch the trailer. It's just the game looks pretty cool, but the actual footage looks awful. I'm not sure what's up with that, especially because it's you get this weird low-resolution stuff, and then all the words on the screen are really high resolution. So the whole trailer is just incredibly jarring with all these weird resolutions.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But not nearly as weird as this next one. Kotaku reports IKEA is hiring people to serve digital meatballs in its Roblox store. I read this story, and I still don't understand it. Apparently, there's an IKEA store in Roblox. So
I don't
buy fake IKEA furniture and build it in Roblox. What and what good does meatball? You can't eat digital food. My head hurts, Dan. Just thinking these words. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure either, Chris. I'm not entirely sure.
I swear to God, I don't think this is because I'm old. I think this is just stupid. I don't think it's... I'm old and out of touch about a lot of things. I feel like this is just stupid.
It's not intelligent, no.
I don't know. I don't get Roblox. I don't get any of it. It's fine. I'm moving on. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I know. Oh God! Oh, this one. Right, out of the frying pan into the fire. This fucking story. Kotaku reports Call of Duty's quote unquote trans bullets are the latest right wing conspiracy rage bait.
I saw that.
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
So there's apparently one combination of guns and ammo that you can put together that will and we're not even sure this is an intentional thing, but the bullets can be emblazoned with the colors of the trans flag. And the worst people on the internet are because of all these trans shootings lately, this game is literally training trans people to become terrorists.
That's right, they are.
And this is why I need to get off the internet. I don't have the words for the sheer quantity of stupid.
No, it's real fucking dumb. It's real
It
dumb.
really is.
What I fail to understand, and we'll talk about this later when we get to some of the conferences and stuff that happened. But like, here's ultimately the part I don't get. It's not for you. If somebody who's trans wants to play that game and they want to use these trans bullets, which is like, but whatever, it's not for you. So just don't.
Yeah, it's
There you
Call
go.
of Duty. It's Bro Dude War Simulator. What? You don't need to pay attention to this. You just don't.
You just don't. You just
It's
don't.
fine.
I don't see you guys out there like getting fucking angry at like unpacking. Like, oh, fucking woke video game media is trying to get men to fold their clothes. Fucking unpack their houses. We all know that's a bitch's job. Like, just stop. It's just not for you. That's all right. Not everything's for you. It's fine. Move on with your day.
Next up, we have from Push Square reports showing a trailer at Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest reportedly costs $250,000 for 1 minute.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah, so I never really thought about the expense of, like, what does it take to get your game in these showcases? And, like, do people vie to get them into the showcases? Or is it just like, hey, these are the games we want to promote, let's work on partnering together and we all make money? But I was seeing lots of comments and things related to this from people who work at these indie companies are like, yeah, we couldn't even pretend to afford to get on a show like this.
Yeah.
So that's just out of there.
I don't think that's all that surprising,
No.
though. Like, considering, yeah, and not to defend Geoff here or anything, but they do need to pay for the venue and pay for the people that are working there and pay for the bands. Like, it's not exactly like they're not just doing this for free. There's a way to do it that wouldn't cost nearly as much money, but he's trying to make a thing. You know?
He is.
It's okay.
He's trying to gleefully dance on the corpse of E3 to make a thing. And that costs money.
But in the same token, Day of the Devs, the indie shit that they show right after Summer Games Fest, is completely free.
Indeed.
So, like, okay, you weren't on Summer Games Fest, but that's not where the indie games are shown. Like, I'm not sure I'm not sure there's a thing there.
Yeah.
Other than
I
just, like, it costs money. Like, but yeah, of course it does.
It's an expensive thing.
Things do indeed cost money, says shocked
sure do.
human.
Next up we have from Time Extension reporting Alien Abduction is a new Atari 2600 cart from Activision Legends. Audacity Games. The audacity. Several years ago, Audacity Games popped up of, like, Gary Kitchen and a handful of other ex-Activision devs to make new Atari games, and they made Circus Convoy, which is apparently a really cool game, and they're like, and here's a couple other ones that are coming soon, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
But we're finally getting another one, and it looks pretty neat, as far as Atari games go. Alien Abduction. So that's cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. This is from John Van Ryzen, who did Hero, the 2600, which is one of those, like, really great late Activision 2600 games. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Clearly, you have a lot to say on the subject. So.
Sorry, it's a new Atari game. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Zoned out there for a second. Sorry. My bad.
Next up, sorry, just give me a second here to bask in this one.
Okay.
Earlier today, I received this is a first-hand one. This is me reporting news. I received an email that my beloved Hatch Tales, my Chicken Wiggle.
Oh, that's right.
It's been delayed again. Shock of shocks. Imagine my surprise. It's been delayed until August 23rd, we think. I mean, who knows? Really.
Sure.
No, apparently,
definitely.
On June 21st, when the release date was supposed to be this time, they're going to do some sort of deep dive video showing off all the amazing new things involved. As you can imagine, the Kickstarter backers are thrilled with this news and have been posting their comments in kind, knowing full well that nobody at a TUI is going to read any of that stuff.
No, they're not.
No, they
don't care.
They really don't. I cannot shake the feeling that this all could have been avoided had they just made the game that they had said they were going to make in the first place.
Yeah, that seems like a way to have done it.
You know, that could have been in and out, done.
Yeah, it seems. Well, I mean, you see, Chris, you just don't get it, though. It's just not that simple. Because you're not a dev, obviously. So, it's okay.
Yeah.
But Jules Watcham is that guy. Just don't fucking Jimmy me, Jules. All right?
This thing's going to come out by the time Switch 2 is out.
It's going to be a Switch 2 launch title. That's what the next delay is going to be like. We've delayed the game because we want to be first on Switch 2. Because that's the best place to play whatever the fuck this is that we've come up with that you didn't want. This game, at this point, has to be as good as, like, Super Metroid. Like, that's
or
the
Beyond
kind
Good
of
and Evil 2.
Yeah, like, that's the kind of ill will that has been built up behind this just continuous fucking goalpost moving and rug pulling. It's just a very odd way to go about things.
But, I mean, obviously, they haven't been working on this game this whole time. Like, they didn't do shit with this game. And they're trying to make it seem like it's gone through all this tumultuous development, but, like, you took the money, you got bored of this project, which you clearly didn't want to do in the first place. You spent the money on making other games, saying, yeah, I'll finish this one at some point. Ooh, what if I did something fancier? And then you just keep building up the expectations, like, oh, no, we've been working on it. We've been changing stuff. We've been building all this stuff in the back. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And they keep showing off these things like, oh, now you've got a silhouette level? That was neat in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze a fucking decade ago. Like, wow, you're really innovating here, guys. He's got a grappling hook. Well, shit. Sign me the fuck up. This was well worth the wait.
Yeah, that's frustrating. That's very annoying.
Yeah, and you know, I'm enjoying reading through the old comment sections. You know, all the people that are like, "This is ridiculous," and there are definitely folks that are saying things like, "This was always meant to be a scam." It's like, I don't think this was ever meant to be a scam. I, honest to God,
I don't think so.
He was so angry that the 3DS sales didn't go through the roof like he expected them to, and then he decided, well, all right, that's what everyone says. They would have bought this if it was on the Switch, so that's what I'll do, but you're going to pay for it up front. And then he got the money and was just like, shit, I don't actually want to do this. I guess I just fucking won't.
Yeah, that's weird.
And finally...
Oh, no, we do that shit all the time. We're not talking about this fucking Super Mario Brothers cartoon I watched, so...
True, but we're going to. We're going to. That's going to happen.
Hey, August 23rd.
Why? Because we already did the work. We watched the show. I watched it earlier today, like a fucking jackass. I tried to get it to load up
Me too.
I tried to get it to load up on the Plex, but there was something going wrong with the names, and I couldn't find the episode, and it was taking forever to load. So I went and found a shitty grip of it on YouTube. It was really hard to watch, super resolution. My eyes are killing me. 2 minutes before the end of the episode, I remember, shit, I have this show on DVD. I could have popped in a fucking DVD at any time and watched this in crystal clear clarity, and I didn't, because I'm a jackass.
I mean, you didn't miss much, Chris.
Didn't I, though? I really wanted to see just how the hideous details on the Koopa Kids. We'll save it for the show. We're gonna have that conversation when Dean's here because I want to hear his suffering too.
We'll have that conversation when Hatch Tales comes out.
Yes, we will. And last but not least, just because I have to touch on the drama, our good friend Smushy Geoff, which is what I'm calling him, again because he absolutely Google searches his name. Has added Jason Schreier to the Kotaku Detected website.
Oh,
and
there's a website.
Yeah, that's a thing that he the thing that Smushy Geoff is working on. He created a website called Kotaku Detected. It was based on the whole Sweet Baby Ink Detected or whatever thing to call out people who are not interested in the wokeism, the woke mind virus that's destroying the game industry. So everyone who was connected to Kotaku in any way, shape, or form, who was woke journalism, he's making a list on this website, and that's the trouble. He's literally making a hit list, with people's information that's publicly available and their transgressions listed underneath them.
As he has so decided?
As he has so decided. And it is, it's really something. So, Jason Schreier, earlier this week posted something because he works for Bloomberg now, I want to say. Did some actual journalism and put together this this
God
article.
Forbid.
I know, actual journalism, which he tends to do, and the critics at this particular moment in time don't so much. Posted an article about the failure of what was it? The Suicide Squad game. So, this thing failed for a number of reasons, and when it was
pretty obvious ones,
when it was posted on Twitter, somebody replied, "Not one." So this is user Justin NC. Not one mention of the woke tone turning off fans or SBI influence. Really, Jason? To which Jason responded, "This article is about what actually happened." Oh boy. To continue, the response was, right, so it didn't have any effect on development behind the scenes, hiring practices, or turning off millions of fans. Do you not remember this game is what kicked off the SBI drama to begin with? Not to even mention, it is negligent, absent journalism, dishonestly so. To which Jason replied, I asked 24 people who worked on the game what went wrong, and not a single one mentioned the words sweet baby. You are chasing angry hallucinations created by grifters who make money off your rage.
Yeah.
This exchange has gotten him on to Smushy Geoff's hit list as a woke...
Well, sure.
A woke journalist. Let's see. Let me find the... actual... I want to see how he wrote up his transgression on here. Just gotta find it, which means going through here. There we go. Latest addition to his Kotaku Detected site. Intentionally misled readers about why Suicide Squad failed by leaving out any mention of SBI. When questioned, he dismissed any concerns as, quote, angry hallucinations and rage clicks.
Yeah, it's what they are. I'm failing to see how a game where the bad guys go around murdering the heroes is woke. What about that is woke? Harley Quinn's a lesbian, if not bisexual, as a character. And one of the other characters is a fucking crocodile! Or shark! Or whatever the fuck he is. Stop it!
It also appears that he has already made a new YouTube video about useless journos. Like, the entire thing is this rage bait grift. It's so gross, and I'm done talking about it. I really didn't want to talk about it much in the first place, but it seems it is an important thing that is happening in the world of video games right now. That the bottom just keeps going lower and lower. And
it's a shark, Chris.
It's dark. It's dark and it's
he's
sad.
A
and
fucking
it makes me sad.
Shark.
And with that,
he's a. God damn it!
That wraps up week old news. There we go. Not a lot of great news this week.
No, is there ever?
Well, yeah, we're going to be talking about a bunch of cool stuff because after the break, we're going to do some recaps on the various expos and directs and things that have happened in the last 7 days since our previous episode. And there's some pretty interesting stuff to talk about. So, hang out, get yourself a drink, a little snack, listen to some commercials, and you're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Please, kindly, stick around.
Hello, nerds. This is Angie from this week's episode. I'm here to ask you a question. How do you feel when you go to a comic shop and you pick up a new book and then you try to read it and you have no idea what's going on in the series? It's annoying, right? Well, I'm here to tell you Tales of Cape Fear is nothing like that. We are a locally made, locally owned comic book anthology, and right now we are running a Kickstarter campaign for our 5th installment. This project has been an entirely volunteer-based project made with love, dedication, and a whole lot of tears, but mostly joy, and we'd love to have you back this project. So please feel free to check the show notes, check out this Kickstarter, and share with your friends. Even if you don't back, sharing means everything. Sharing is caring.
Do you enjoy the Stone Age Gamer podcast and other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network? Do you wish you could listen to them sooner than the regular unwashed masses? Do you wish you could contribute in some way? Well, then you should check out the Geekade Patreon. Yes, the Geekade Patreon is a wonderful and very much appreciated way for you to help us pay the bills and keep our shows running week after week. As a Geekade patron, you'll get a monthly podcast topic schedule and early access to nearly every show on the Geekade Podcast Network, as well as access to a patron-exclusive monthly show called DC's Amazing Movie Time from the creators of the Weekend Rental podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/Geekade and become a loved and appreciated member of the Geekade Patreon team and get early access to shows like the Stone Age Gamer podcast, this week's episode, Turning Tracks, and a whole lot more. See you there.
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, Yet Another Star Trek Podcast, at yetanotherstpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
Okay, we are back. We have returned, and it is time to talk about not E3. This really kind of worked out because we would just be doing week-old news for a fucking hour, and then we still have a cartoon to talk about. And that's just not going to work for us. So we're going to go through, talk about the various showcases that happened this week, of which there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 this week. And we're going to start...
watched 2 because I wasn't prepared to talk about this week. I thought
that is okay. I don't think you missed a whole lot. There's some interesting stuff here. There's some not so interesting stuff here. First things first, there's the OT Games Expo 2024. This is a company that we talked about last year. OTK, I think, stands for One True King. This showcase was 4 hours long.
Oh, boy.
That's
a lot. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah, it was a lot of hours. I'm trying to remember what was even showcased in this one. There was a lot of stuff.
Well, here's something that I have an issue with. Okay. I just went to the OTKGamesExpo.com because I didn't watch this. It says showcasing 30-plus video game studios and genres with the OTK crew. Cool. So I start scrolling down. Where to watch. Expo has ended. There's a little video. Doesn't look like I can click on it. There's Cash App, a bunch of different ads. The 2023 Games Expo is down there at the bottom. There's a list of pictures, our favorite moments from last year. So on the front page of their OTK Games Expo, there's literally no information about the games that were presented this year. And then, nope, nothing over here. And click at other different links. Maybe if I click on the 2024. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you have to go to past game expos to look at different things that have been, that were talked about.
I think this is, I'm trying to find the stream that I watched because I went through and timestamped it.
Okay.
Because I think it was this one that was just like, there were absolutely no timestamps for any of it. And it just seemed like this is impossible for anyone to get through. So I'll do it. I got to watch this shit anyway. So it wasn't the Guerrilla Collective one. Now I'm trying to find it. Yeah, okay. So let's see. Which... yeah, it's the IGN Games one. So where is... I went through. I put in the comment. There it is. I timestamped every one of them, and it seems to have gotten a handful of likes. So I guess you're welcome, people of the world. Yeah, this was the... Which one was I looking at? This is just... Oh, so this is the... I was looking at the IGN one, not the IGN Games one. So the IGN Games one is the one that I timestamped. So I went through this whole thing. This was I don't know, vaguely endearing from time to time, but it was mostly cringy. Like it was very, very, yeah, cringy is kind of the only word I can think of for it. It was just kind of like, here's a bunch of folks saying yo and wearing blazers over t-shirts and stuff. Like, really just the whole thing was just, here's what we thought E3 was years ago, like the worst of E3.
Right.
tagged together with like, really, you're going to put this whole thing together with all these games and not timestamp any of them. It was
it's a little
really
weird.
annoying watching things and being like, okay, wait, which game is this again? What's this game called? I forget what this game is called because it just wasn't well organized. It was a poorly put together show all in all. And I can say that because other shows were very much not that. But there was a couple of games that I thought seemed fairly interesting in here. Something called Big Boy Boxing that like had legally distinct King Hippo in it. You don't get to see any gameplay at all, which was kind of obnoxious. Yeah. Splody looked kind of interesting. Splody is a little 2D, indie game side scroller thing where you, not
Splode.
entirely unfamiliar to like the concept of Splosion Man, but
yeah,
it looked kind of neat. I was a big fan of what was it? Screenbound looked really cool. This actually got shown off.
I saw that today.
It was in Day of the Devs. Yeah, that got showed off again in Day of the Devs in more detail. But it was shown off here first. This is a really interesting concept. It's like a first-person game, but you're seeing it through a 2D game from someone holding a Game Boy in front of the camera. It's really neat. I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, that looks kind of dope.
Hope it comes to consoles and I can futz around with it. There was also one of these bird games, Just Crow Things.
Yeah, I just watched a little. There's clips on the website. I clicked on that one. That one looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this is from the people who did Unbound Creations. They did a game called Rain on My Parade, which has been on my Switch wish list for a little while now. It just looks
I
really
remember you
interesting.
talking about that.
Yeah, and so this new game from that company, and it looks ridiculous. So that's kind of neat. That is just about all that really stuck out to me off the top of my head.
This Rah Rah Boom looks pretty interesting. Fast-paced 4-player co-op beat 'em up following a team of ninja cheerleaders from space.
Right.
That looks pretty cool.
I liked the concept. I can't say I was all that into the visuals. Like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it moves very well. But,
yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, this Akatori thing looks kind of cool. The Metroidvania with the girl with the staff.
Oh, right.
Some of the, like, staff tricks look pretty cool to, like, move around the level. I don't know. That looks kind of neat.
There's a lot
4
to
hours
take
is
in
too
here.
fucking much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Who's watching that?
It took me a while
obviously,
I didn't watch the whole thing. I skipped through most of it. Like, I was just scrubbing it. It took me about an hour to get all those timestamps put together.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is one of those things like, what is OTK? Like, who are these people? They don't cross into my life at all until E3 time rolls around, until Summer Games rolls around. And
then we never think about them again.
Never think about them again. I don't understand who they are and what their purpose is, but this whole presentation could have used work. Like, aim for some more quality over quantity here, fellas.
Yeah.
I did like this dev for hire thing. That was kind of a neat thing that they did in the middle of it, around the 2 hours and 15 minutes mark. They did this segment called Dev for Hire, because they were acknowledging that a lot of developers have been going on hard times because of all the closures, and so they highlighted a handful of developers that are currently looking for work. And
that's pretty cool.
Gave their resumes during the show, and that's pretty cool. I like that. Good on you.
Yeah,
nice work. So OTK, not my favorite. It was certainly a thing that happened. There was a couple of interesting things in there, but didn't really knock the old socks off. So, next up we have the Guerrilla Collective on June 6th. This is another one of those things that happens every year.
Yeah.
And let me see. I didn't take any specific notes on this one. I feel like this was actually a part of Summer Games Fest at this point. This was a bit more
I think it is.
A professional dealie here. We got Yuka Replayly. Fuck you, Play.
That's a good name.
It's a terrible name, and I love it. just fuck you so much for that, Yuka Replayly. How dare you? It's just crazy to me that game's old enough to be getting a remaster, but here we are.
Yeah.
What was Deathbound? Nope. Yeah, party-based Souls-like. I'm out. Volgar the Viking 2 looked pretty cool. I was unfamiliar with the first Volgar the Viking. I didn't even realize that was a thing, but this game looked pretty sick.
Yeah.
I would give that a try.
Is that okay? A lot of these look to be just PC currently.
Yeah, currently. I think that is really primarily what this whole situation was. I don't really understand the game, but I love the name. What was it? Knights in Tight Spaces.
That's pretty good.
It's a bunch of knights fighting in tight quarters. Okay, but it's like a card-based thing. It's weird, but I like the concept of this one. Definitely not a game that I would play, but certainly seems like a thing. SteamWorld Heist 2 got some new information. The fucking lunatics, the absolute unhinged, crazy people at Night Dive Studio just keep looking at the 3DO library and be like, you know what? Let's do this one again.
We could do some more of that.
Killing Time Resurrected. Like, oh my god, it looks ridiculous. Because Killing Time is ridiculous. It's freaking first-person shooter 3DO, and they're remastering the thing in high definition. It looks amazing. It looks terrible, but it looks amazing. I love that. I'm so glad the studio exists. Bless your hearts, Night Dive Studios. But after that, we did Toomba Special Edition, which I didn't realize was coming to other platforms. I always thought that Toomba was I always thought Sony had a stake in that. Yeah, like I didn't think it was just like a thing that was made for PlayStation. I thought they had a stake in that. But I guess following...
Guess not.
Well, you know what? That's just it. Following some other news that happened today, maybe it is, and that's just a thing that's happening. But I've always wanted to play Toomba. I've always heard that it was a pretty fun...
That's pretty cool.
...platformer. So, sure. I'm glad this is getting a re-release. This is a Carbon Engine one. It's being published by Limited Run. It's coming to PS4, PS5, Steam, and Switch. So let's see. Let's see what I can learn here. There's little credits here at the bottom. Whoopee Camp Company Limited has the the copyright. Switch the trademark on Nintendo. Blah blah blah. Steam logo. Yeah, this is just talking about the logos. I'm very curious what this boils down to, because I was just recently putting together a list of a Sony IP for a project I'm working on, and Toomba came up as being listed as, a PlayStation property. I'm very curious about the actual ownership of this, but
like I said, I always thought it was, but
as did I. But hey, it's coming to Switch, which seems like a real great fit for it. That's a place where people play these kinds of games. So, Project Tides. Project Tides is interesting to me. This is the one, I think, from the developer of Slime San.
Okay. Yeah.
The Slime San and Demon Turf. I didn't really like Slime San. So, this game didn't hold a lot of luster for me, but just looking how far that development studio has come, of how simple looking Slime San was, and then looking at this, like, that's a really fun evolution to see. They may not make games that appeal to me specifically, but I gotta say, I'm rooting for them as a developer. It's how could you not? That kind of thing is cool to see. What else was interesting from this? There was this ninja game, looked pretty cool. God, there's so many games.
There was one thing that I am super interested in that they showed. And that is the Transylvania Adventures of Simon Quest.
Oh my god,
I'm super into.
This game. I've been following this game for a while now. I didn't realize it was coming to Switch. That makes me really happy, because this started as like a remake of Castlevania 2, and then he was just like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's just turn this into my own game." And it is so It is so legally distinct from like Simon's Quest. I love that it's Simon Quest, which I believe was the main character of the Simon's Quest Worlds of Power novel.
Yeah,
it's just a dude named Simon Quest. Oh my god, the Transylvanian Adventure of Simon Quest. This looks magnificent. I am really into this one.
But this is another show where it's like I cannot, and I can't imagine anybody can, pay attention to this many fucking games.
Yeah, this is
over 70 games.
Yeah,
70 fucking games. Like,
taking this too far.
That's
like
nuts.
You've got it. I understand you want to give as many games as possible a spotlight, but when you do this much, you're not giving any of them a spotlight, right? Because who can have a spotlight in a 3-hour video?
You just can't. 3 hours and you got 3 minutes. Like it's just too fucking much, man.
Yeah, and there was other neat stuff in here for sure. Like I remember I flipped
that
through this whole thing. Yeah,
that's looking pretty cool.
I can't remember the names
made
of
by
anyone.
Former Tony Hawk people.
And I guess that's another problem. Even if you do watch all of it, how are you supposed to remember what was what? Like Toxic Crusader still looks great. Hooray. Somber Echoes. And that wasn't even the last thing they did. That game looked neat. Somber Echoes. Another Metroidvania.
They showed more Anton Blast stuff?
They not really. They just showed the animated intro. So no new gameplay or anything like that. They showed up the whole animated intro, which is kind of cool. Frogun Encore. Frogun.
Okay.
What's special about this? This game isn't that old, but I missed this one. Right, Frogun was the one that looked looked a lot like Croc for PlayStation 1. I know people were rather fond of this game, so here's the sequel to Frogun. Frogun Encore. Okay. All right. Well, as far as the actual presentation goes, it's a lot. I didn't hate the actual presentation. Like the presentation itself was, a couple of folks in between sitting in front of arcade cabinets and saying things. Not really. I didn't get as much of a "Hey, fellow kids" vibe from this one. But yeah, my biggest gripe is it's too long. It's too much. It's too long. It's too much. I know there's so many games to cover, but at a certain point, you've got to limit it. You've got to break this down into something that can be more memorable, and just do it again 6 months from now or something. Like you just cannot there's too many good games. You cannot spotlight everything. And if you're making your presentations this long, it's just never going to work. Like you've made everything that was in here far too forgettable.
That is an insane 70 games shown off. Like that's just a fucking bananas amount of games
in a 3-hour presentation. Like that's too dang much. This one, on the other hand, apparently happened last year as well, and I didn't know about it. I'm so glad I discovered it because this was a really fun showcase. The Homebrew Games Summer Showcase 2024. Runtime 34 minutes. I can do that.
There you go.
This was... I thought that I would wind up skipping through this, and I absolutely didn't. They included because there was a lot of games, they included a spreadsheet. There's 120 homebrew games showed off, and they were like, "This is a lot. Here's a spreadsheet. Here's a spreadsheet with all the different all the games in the order that they were in, what platforms they're for."
Yeah.
Here's what happened. I started watching it, and I couldn't stop. They go by at a relatively quick clip. Every single one of the games is introduced, and then in the top corner, for the entire time the trailer's happening, it says what the name is and what platform it's for, so you never forget what it is you're looking
Genius.
at. That information's always there. Exactly. Genius. And it's 34 minutes, so it goes by at a pretty quick clip, and I was so entertained, I couldn't stop. there was no point that I was like, all right, I can skip this, because the trailers are all short enough where it's like, all right, we'll move on. Here's what I'll say about this. The NES and Game Boy Color stuff in particular, I was so impressed by. I cannot believe the visuals people are getting out of the NES these days. Like, the first game on this list, Former Dawn, is like, it's so crazy that this is an NES game. Looking at the way this animates and how the colors all come together, like, this is freaking wild.
People are doing some really incredible shit with Homebrew.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun, like, there's definitely a handful of Homebrew stuff you look at and be like, so you put Dr. Mario on Game Gear, got it. Or this is Bomberman. This is your take on Bomberman, got it. But there was other stuff that just all looked really interesting with really crazy graphics. There was one Virtual Boy game in there that looked really cool. It was a racing game. Couple of Super Nintendo, handful of Genesis, some Lynx, some ColecoVision. Like, they were really all over the map. Like, there was stuff on tons of different platforms in this. And it was a really entertaining showcase. And the Homebrew community, I think, is a really interesting one. Obviously, indie devs are their own thing, but I feel like Homebrew is just like, there are a lot of what am I thinking of here? Sorry, throat was getting dry from all that talking. There was one of the showcases. What was the last one we just talked about? There was the OTK one that was all those indie games. So many of the games during that showcase seemed like the entire purpose of them was, I want to make a video game. And then, like, that was the inspiration. I want to make a game. Here's something I like. I'm going to make my take on that. Here's my version of this. Whereas that's not enough. That's one of the reasons so many of the games in the OTK Games Expo felt so forgettable, is because so many of them seemed derivative, and so many of them seemed to come from a position of, I want to make a game. I want to make this game. I want to make a game. And then this is what they came up with.
Doesn't much matter what the game is.
Yeah, just I want to be a game developer, so I want to make a game. That's what it feels like to me. I can't say for sure that's what it is. I'm not these people. I don't know their stories, but that's what it came off as. Whereas the Homebrew, every single one of them was like, I have an idea. Because if you're going to make a Homebrew game for an existing system, you've got to be kind of nuts. Then you wind up with stuff like Seesaw Space Security Squad for Genesis, which is like Space Invaders on a seesaw, which is fucking ridiculous. I love it.
No, that tracks.
I wish I could remember. What's this one? This robot, Fall from Space for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. That one was really cool. A lot of them looked kind of bland and boring to me, but just because they're not my style of game. This Discrete Orange game for Game Boy Advance looks really weird. Like, at first I thought, it was like, why is he moving like that? Oh, that's the actual gameplay is built around the fact that he moves like that. Like, you move
because he's discrete,
3 tiles at a time, and so you have to like kind of plan ahead on how you're going to get into these different areas because you don't have like a specific attack or anything. It's weird. It's a weird game. And what was the last one? I feel like the last game they showed off was Phantom Gear for Sega Genesis. This game looks sick. This game looks really freaking cool, and I hope it winds up getting ported to other modern platforms other than Genesis, because this game looks ridiculously cool.
That one, I think we've talked about that one before. That sounds relatively familiar. Maybe it got brought up in the Discord at some point.
I don't know. Yeah. All I know is that the trailer for this one.
It's not a good sign, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'm trying. Yeah, that one kind of knocked my socks off. This was a really fun presentation. I really liked the way this was put together. That it was only a half an hour. The fact that it was a ton of games was fine because there was a spreadsheet and the games were listed on the screen the entire time. Yeah, that was a good one. Homebrew Games Summer Showcase 2024. I'm sad I missed it last year. I will not be missing it again.
Nice.
Then we had June 7th. That was today. Started with earlier this morning, we got the Accessibility Showcase, which they've been doing those for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Not there. There's usually never any games in there that I'm like, wow, that looks super cool. I want to try that one out. What I find so fascinating about this is, number one, it's not aimed at me. This is aimed at people who are looking for games that with accessibility functions, like games made by disabled gamers, or just disabled developers, or you're just looking for the latest in what are the new accessibility things we're adding to games that other people can add to. I just find it to be
bunch
a fascinating
of woke
showcase.
bullshit, Chris. Sorry.
According to the comments. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're not sorry. How dare you?
I'm accurate, which is the sad part.
Yeah. But yeah, it's it looks like it did pretty well. It got 4,500 views, which seems pretty solid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There was one game in here that I did think was utterly fascinating. Let me find it real quick. All right, this was called Periphery. So this game is a first-person Metroidvania that is designed to be able to be played only by listening to it. Like, that's visual,
wild.
Right? That's crazy to me. The visuals of it are extremely minimalistic. It's just like a bunch of dots, but you can tell what the landscape is. But apparently, everything you do in the game, you should be able to do just by, like, if you're completely blind, you can play this game, which I find fascinating.
That's awesome.
This is a really, really interesting concept for a game. So, yeah, there wasn't anything else in this showcase that I looked at and said, yeah, that's the game. That's the next one for me. That was the one that really stood out to me. But other than that, it was a fascinating watch just because of all the, this is how technology has advanced in the world of accessibility issues.
Yeah. That's really awesome, though.
Yeah, I like the showcase exists. Laura Kate Dale, the host, she said that they were going to try to do a winter one as well, just to kind of see if doing 2 of them a year is sustainable. And honestly, I hope it is, because I think this stuff is important. It's not important for me right now, but, as somebody who loves relying on that old rewind button on Nintendo Switch Online, I imagine 10, 20 years from now, this stuff is going to matter to me. So, yeah. I'm glad that it's out there, because gaming should be for everyone. All right, time for the big beefy ones. Summer Game Fest, officially the big one. Geoff Keighley's E3 killer is here. Yeah. It was actually a pretty fun show. I enjoyed it.
It looked like there were some quite surprising things.
Yeah, there were a couple of surprising pieces here, and I'm trying to find the actual. I guess I could look at the GameSpot's version of it, but so there's no like list breakdown of everything, or maybe there is. Maybe somebody's written that up by now. Recap. Let's see. Digital trends. Everything announced at Summer Game Fest 2024. So, the first one on this list here was a shock to me. Sony announces Lego Horizon Adventures, which in and of itself
looks fucking awesome.
That is a very strange property to be making a Lego game out of, but you do you. But back to what we were talking about, Toomba, this is coming out on Switch.
Yeah. Why not?
Weird. Well, because it's a PlayStation game. It's Horizon. That's what's weird about it. But here we are. Like, yeah, we understood that MLB The Show was a thing, and that was a very specific situation, right? This is a Lego Horizon game, which in and of itself is completely bizarre, but the fact that it's coming to Switch, like, this is a full-on PlayStation property that...
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
I do. I think it's incredibly cool. I was seeing a couple of interesting reactions to this, that the Switch ecosystem is so attractive right now that even PlayStation is looking at it and being like, yeah, we can sell games there. but Nintendo will absolutely not be putting their games on other platforms.
Can you imagine? One day.
But why would they? They don't have any reason to. They're doing so well.
Neither does Sony. Sony doesn't have to do it.
True. I feel
But
like they're
not?
in a because their games are going to sell on Switch. I feel like at this point, Nintendo's games might not sell as well on other platforms. They're just not in that position right
fucking
now.
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom would. Metroid Prime 4 would. Super Mario Wonder, probably not as well as you would like a Mario game to sell, but fuck it. Put Mario Kart 8.
Get it everywhere.
Keep putting that shit out.
They play that shit way too close to the vest. Like,
they do.
I don't know. I have this very strange feeling about the PlayStation ecosystem right now. I know it's making a lot of money, but I just don't know on what.
Yeah, I mean, it's had some pretty huge titles, right? Like, I know that this generation has not been the most exciting generation for
Mostly
PlayStation.
because most of the biggest games are also still on PS4.
Yeah,
There's still
that's
PS4
really
games.
the thing.
We're years into PS5, and there still isn't like a lot of reason to update from the PS4. Yeah, there still isn't.
Really not. There's really not, unfortunately. But like God of War Ragnarok, pretty huge fucking deal. Spider-Man 2, pretty big fucking deal. Last of Us 2, like pretty big deal. Also all available on PlayStation 4. So
it's very strange. Then we got the announcement of Civilization 7. Again, I've never been a Civ person, but this is coming out on fucking everything. PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch in 2025. So yay, Sid Meier's Civilization. Keep making those games. Blumhouse is becoming a game publisher.
Wow.
Alan
Hold on.
Wake.
Sorry. Time out real quick. I don't know how entirely accurate this is. But let me just... Okay, so I will take off Spider-Man 2. Astrobot coming out in 2024. Astro's Playroom. Dark Pictures Switchback VR. Demon Souls 2020. Destruction All-Stars. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Horizon Call of the Mountain. Marvel's Wolverine, which is not out yet. Quantum Error, which I don't know what that is. Rise of the Ronin. Silent Hill The Short Message. Spider-Man 2 and Stellar Blade. Those are the games that are only available on PlayStation 5.
Wow. That's not a lot.
No. 5 years into the system. And again, this is from Wikipedia. This might not be entirely accurate, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Rebirth is going other places. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. There are 11 PS5 exclusive games because that's not the only Sony exclusives. Like we just said, they're available on PS4. But yeah, 5 years in, if there's only 5 like big titles that are exclusive, like why, unless you're like me and want to have, the most comfortable way to play it with the processing power and all of that, there's really not a ton of reason to get one yet. Anyway,
yeah. No. Moving on. Let's see. Yeah, Blumhouse is becoming a game publisher. Alan Wake 2 DLC and physical version. Valorant is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh wow! So this is a terrible breakdown because this actually isn't going through everything. It's just if they were just like showing a handful of spotlights, and they didn't even pick out the spotlights that I thought were the coolest goddamn things. So let's see. Everything else. No More Room in Hell 2 was announced. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Cuff Bus, Star Wars Outlaws. Got some new gameplay. Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're gonna get more of that during the Ubisoft show. Blah, blah, blah. Asgard's Wrath 2, Once Human, Warhammer 40k. Oh, God, this was a fun moment. Batman Arkham Shadow.
Yeah.
Did you see this moment when they announced it during here?
No, I just pulled it up.
So
What happened?
They say Batman Arkham Shadow, the crowd goes nuts, and as soon as they say VR, there's an audible sucked all the air out of the room, like Batman Arkham Shadow is the newest blah 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 coming to VR. Oh, that's exactly what happened to me. I was like, oh, why? No, stop it. Yeah, was all excited, and then I wasn't.
Not gonna lie, you had us in the first half.
Yeah, but it's a VR game, so fucking them out. Featuring Rat King. I didn't know there was a DC Rat King. I know there's the Turtles Rat King, but whatever.
Yeah, maybe it's the same.
There's Street Fighter 6 next to DLC Pass, which looks really cool. There's a very strange looking version of M. Bison. Elena from Street Fighter 3.
He's been through some shit.
Well, he died in the last game, so
yeah.
The fact that he's here is interesting. Elena from Street Fighter 3, hooray, but big ones, we're getting Terry Bogard and May, or Mai, however you say
that's
it.
awesome.
Oh my god, Terry's going to be in Street Fighter 6. I can't wait. Wait.
That's really awesome.
I mean, I'm probably not going to play it because I'm so out of that, but I love watching competitive Street Fighter, and I cannot wait to see some Terry Bogard competitive Street Fighter happen. I'm so into it.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Fatal Fury, speaking of which, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. It's had a new trailer and a 2025 release window. Some cool stuff. This one looks fucking... I've been saying for years, even way back in the 90s, that Power Rangers always should have had a Ninja Turtles arcade game style beat 'em up. That always should have been a thing, and it has always been confusing to me why that never happened. I am not a Power Rangers fan at all, but it just seems like the most perfect property, right? Especially the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because they had those generic putty villains. There's your foot soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, it is so tailor-made for it. And they're finally making it. Digital Eclipse is making Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. And it looks so good. It
really does.
So good.
It looks really awesome. There's some really interesting, like, 3D sections.
Yeah, like, because it's not just
There's going to be something... There's going to be something with a Megazord at some point.
The Megazord looks like there's their first-person boxing matches or something when you're in the Megazord.
Yeah.
There's the racing segments that look like old Sega arcade games like Outrun and stuff. Holy crap. This blew me away. I was like, this is the coolest damn thing. I cannot wait for this to come out. We are truly in colorful, cartoony, beat-em-up renaissance right now.
We really are. Like, between that and Toxic Avengers, like, what else?
Exactly.
What else do we really need?
There's the G.I. Joe one, too.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one entirely.
And they all look great.
That's the other one we need. Yeah.
There it is. This was one of my favorite announcements. Among Us developer Inner Sloth announced that it's an indie game funding program called Outer Sloth, where they're using their success from Among Us.
Great.
Right. Fantastic name. But, like, they hit it big with Among Us, and so they're using that money to help other indie developers get the same chance that Among Us got.
That's awesome.
I was smiling ear to ear. I was like, holy shit. That is a wonderful thing. Because during this show, there was some, like, lighthearted lip service to the, like, earlier on in the show, Geoff Keighley is like, it's been a bad, the tumultuous times for the game industry. It's a lot of studio closures. It's really bad times, but we're here for the awesome stuff. Games, AAA developers, money, money, money.
Blah, blah, blah.
Wow, that was pretty fucking shallow, dude. But then these guys come up on stage, and they're just these wonderfully humble people that are like, we were lucky. This worked out great for us. We're very fortunate, and we're going to pass on that to other people. and that's great.
That's really, really awesome. Like, legitimately, that doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, fucking great. And then they showed off the Among Us animated series, which I still don't really understand what that show's going to be like. What is the show actually going to be, is my question. I guess it looks neat. Geoff Keighley came out with, like, was after this trailer, this next one was done, Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's like his response to it was like the least heartening thing ever. Just like, yeah, what a year for Shadow. Anyway, moving on. Like, you can tell this guy does not give a shit about Sonic the Hedgehog. But I still don't really understand this game because I didn't play Sonic Generations. Like, is this just a re-release of Sonic Generations with Shadow content added to it? Or is it a whole new game? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to know. It's not for me.
Neither. Exactly. I'm trying to think of anything else in here that really... Nothing else. Phantom Blade Zero got a new gameplay trailer. That looks
cool.
Awesome. That game looks great. Nothing else really jumped out at me. All in all, not a terrible show.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed myself. I know he said to temper expectations before the show, and I did, and it was still, I thought it was a pretty good show.
This wasn't bad.
Yeah. What happened in Day of the Devs, right? Because right after this was Day of the Devs, and I can't remember if there's anything super cool announced during Day of the Devs.
Let me see. Hold on, because I watched most of this one. I picked it up. So there's So the first game was Battle Vision Network. I didn't see that. Simpler Times. I didn't see that.
Cairn, Pedal Runner, Karma.
Cairn
the Dark
looks
World.
fine. Pedal Runner looks pretty cool. Like a cyberpunk Pokemon kind of thing. That one looked pretty cool. Game Boy Color looking.
We got a closer look at a Ranger. That was a neat one. We saw a Ranger at, what was it, a Nintendo Direct earlier in the year?
I think so.
That was a really cool looking game. It was nice to get a closer look at that. This is where we got a closer look at Screenbound.
Yeah, this Fear of the Spotlight is one of the Blumhouse that I just fucking stop with the PlayStation 1 graphics. God damn it.
Yeah, I really don't.
Tiff says the same thing every time a Pixel game comes on. She's like, fucking why? We have a PlayStation 5. Why the fuck am I playing some Pixel shit? And like, I get it. But I don't I grew up on this and don't have the nostalgia for the PlayStation 1 graphics. Yeah,
I think the PlayStation 1 graphics don't look great. I think the pixel art graphics do look great when done properly.
Yeah. Tiff did say Chat said about Screenbound. She was like, we can't play that game together because I'm going to throw up. I can't. I'm going to throw up. It's like, it's fair. It looks really clever, really interesting. The one they showed right after that Zoocosis. Fucking zoo animals are all mutating. Fucking giraffes, big head and tongue are coming after you. It's like, all right. Cool. I also like David Cronenberg shit. I think my favorite one that they showed here, Penny was really excited about. Tom the Post Girl had that really cool, like, sketchy art style, and like she looks like Little Red Riding Hood, but like you're like peeping on people. That looked really fucking weird and interesting.
So yeah, Day of the Devs was pretty solid.
Yeah,
Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, both solid.
The dude who talked about building relationships. Did you watch that one?
No, I missed that. We were in. All
right,
I had one earbud in while my daughter was making us watch the Woody Woodpecker movie. So,
right. You should go back and watch that one because that dude was like, "This is fucking dumb. I don't know what am I doing with my life."
Oh right, like, the house. Yeah, I did see that. The one where like the house is rolling
relationships.
around.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about. That looked pretty cool. This while waiting thing looked like the weirdest fucking game I've ever seen. I was kind of into the way this Phoenix Springs, the point and click one, I'm into the way that one looks. That it just looks really striking. And I think that was it as far as...
Once Day of the Devs ended, it was supposed to be 8 o'clock starts the Devolver Digital one, but they spent an extra 10 minutes on an incredibly repetitive song. Like, it was a song from Cocoon, and it was like this dude was just jamming out, making it happen, but it was a very repetitive song, and it just kept fucking going. It just kept going.
Yeah, Chad and I were talking about that, and it was like, this seems really easy to make. I'll just hit this button for like 7 minutes.
Yeah, it was
there you go.
Not fun in that moment. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But
then we got this year's unhinged nonsense that is the Devolver Direct. I hope they never stop making these.
So the first thing I would like to say about this Devolver Direct is that I really need them to make a Volvi game at some point.
I feel like it's almost funnier if they don't. I mean, after all, this was the 15th anniversary of this character they invented last year.
That's fair. The local co-op for... It was great.
Yeah, the presentation was wrapped up in like some really weird dude throwing a birthday party for Volvi, and the cops showed up, and then everybody was having a party at the end, and there was cake. It was weird. I loved it.
It was very strange.
Yeah, so was it multiplayer for Cult of Lamb on Holy Alliance?
Yeah, which Katie and I got like really excited for. She was like, "Oh, you're going to be home. Like, you're not going to be allowed to go anywhere. So like we can do August. Fuck."
Yes,
like that's a bummer.
Talos Principle 2, Road to Elysium.
Yeah, some DLC for that.
Yeah, Angerfoot. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen any new information on Angerfoot.
I'm in.
Yes. Yes, please. The Crush
I'm
House.
in at some point.
I don't really understand what this one was, but sure.
It appeared that there was more going on there than what that trailer showed.
Yeah, there's definitely more than meets the eye. You got Possessors, Tenjutsu.
That looked pretty cool. Tenjutsu looked pretty cool. I was pretty into that one. Katie watched this one with me, and she was like, "Oh, like," because they were showing all like the anime style, like cutscenes and whatnot. She was like, "This looks like Akira," and I was like, "I'm doing such a good job raising you."
Yes, you're doing a very good job.
And then it cut to the pixel art, and she was like, "It does not look like Akira anymore." I was like, "No, it doesn't," but she was like, "It still looks cool though."
There you go. And that's pretty much it. That was that was a lot. I loved the Devolver presentation, and I thought Day of the Devs and Summer Game Fest were both solid this year.
They were. They did a very good job.
Yeah. So next week we're going to have even more. Next week we've got Future of Play Direct, Wholesome Direct, Latin American Game Show, Women-Led Game Show, Future Game Show, Xbox Game Showcase, PC Gaming Showcase, Ubisoft Forward, Yacht Club Presents, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Nintendo Direct.
I am not going to watch most of those. Or maybe I will. I don't know.
I'll skim through them.
I don't know what next week holds for me.
True. I will at the very least skim through them, and it seems likely that this is going to be our topic again for next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just because of the amount of stuff that's happening, especially if the Nintendo Direct hits. But
yeah. Well, and that's easy enough for us to prepare for and the listeners to prepare for as well.
And it's what's going on, It's this wonderful time of the year where we get here's a bunch of new game stuff coming out. I'm very curious about the Xbox Game Showcase because they've had a year.
it has to be a big one, right? Like
I feel like
they
it does.
really have to fucking deliver.
Because I don't know what else is going on with that company right now. And, now's the time, right? Because the Nintendo Direct hasn't hit yet, and PlayStation didn't exactly knock it out of the park. So
They really didn't.
this is if they've got some really cool stuff they can drop, this might be a big one for them. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But with that is going to wrap things up, and that is our show. Join us next time for either the Cartoon Express, or if this stuff is as interesting as I hope it will be, more not E3 coverage, because that seems to be our lives at this particular moment in time.
That's right.
We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ali. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, go the fuck to bed. And keep playing games.
But bed first.